It's the Bennington Show on a Wednesday. I'm Ron Bennington. There's Gail Bennington.
Yo.
I'm Ron Bennington. With us, as always, is the king of producing, man that was named the #1 Sirius XM radio producer, our own Chris Stanley. Chris, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
It was a long time coming.
I don't know. I'm shocked, as anybody is. I call this the upset of all time. I really do. I feel bad for E-Rock. Because I thought I had voted for him. I'm going to tell you the truth. Why wouldn't I? The guy is unbelievable.
He's really on top of stuff.
You know what? We haven't gotten to this in a couple of days. I think it's time to dish.
Nice.
Right off the bat. Let's just start right off the bat with a little dish, because we're filled with these Senate hearings right now, and quite frankly, they're difficult to follow.
Let's go with the lighter side of the news.
Yeah, lighter side of the news. Let's dish. What does it take to get a song played around here? Who do I got to know?
I don't know.
Just let's dish is the way the song goes. Here she is, Jen. How are you doing? Good. Come on in. Still can't find it, Vito? And the #1 producer of all time can't pull it off?
Here we go.
There it is. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Mm.
Mm. So you're going to have your
headphones. Jen's got the news. Let's dish to the gossip they're saying on the radio.
Oh, there's Jen. Jen, song's lagging. But this is exciting. I understand you have a co-host today.
I do.
Somebody from our past, somebody who was back, going to make the summer of... You know how to get people around, right, Vito? How to move them around? You know how to send people in here, right, Vito? Jen, let everybody know who's...
My co-host today for the dish is Spencer Berger.
Yay, Spencer Berger! Spencer Berger!
It was great to be back.
It's good to have you here. How was your the other 3 seasons of the year?
Oh, it was great. It was really great.
You're loving school?
Oh yeah, it was great. It was great. It was really great.
Good.
Man, it looks like he's matured.
He has.
Oh yeah, I am mature. Been through a rough semester, but made me feel like a man.
Now what was so rough about it?
Well, I took this one course. It was a financial accounting course.
Yeah.
You know, I had to memorize. Some numbers.
I don't do that.
That was wonky.
Yeah.
That was wonky. That's why I declared communications as a major.
You what?
That's why I declared communications as a major.
Sweet. Now, wonky, that's the kid slang. That's something.
No, it's like, this was a bit of a rough semester though.
Yeah.
But, you know what? I managed through it.
Good.
And that's all that matters.
Did you, and it sounds like your voice dropped.
Yeah, it did, but I'm more mature now. More comfortable here.
Yes.
Last year I was nervous, but now.
I didn't think that you were nervous by the end of the year.
So-and-so, but here, more comfortable.
Glad to have you back, buddy.
Thank you.
Now, you're co-hosting Let's Dish with Jen. By the way, Jen.
Hey, Jen.
Because you're kind of a senior intern this year.
You are.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Wasn't expecting it.
You deserve it. You deserve it after last year. All right, so let's dish you two. You keep up on the gossip. You know what's happening out there, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
All right, what do we got, guys?
So Kanye West is planning to get uniforms for the Calabasas High School. He's going to create them, and he's also going to spice up the high school.
What high school is this?
Gym. Calabasas High School.
I never heard of this high school. Why that? Why did they get the Kanye
California.
blessing? Yeah, why did they get the Kanye blessing?
I assume it's because his kids are probably going to go to the high school.
And he wants them looking fresh.
He's not going to be able to see those children. The Kardashians do not keep them around. Now, what uniform? Do you mean like the everyday uniform?
Yeah, the everyday uniform, the gym uniforms, everything.
Will this also be derelict?
It doesn't seem that way. Spencer, where are you thinking on this one? Wonky? Not wonky.
I don't really have an answer to say.
Not even a wonk.
Do you wonk
I don't
it?
Do you wonk it or not wonk it?
Maybe I'll wonk it. I'm not
Okay.
sure.
That's a wonky.
That's a wonky.
All right, keep it going on. Let's find out whether it's wonky or
Oh
not.
my god, is this like the word of the day or something?
Yes, it seems like it.
Oh my god. Everything I come up with, it just becomes popular. It's
It
unbelievable.
does. It's true. It is
man.
true. What do you got, Jen?
So A-Rod, he's dating J-Lo right now. And he had an ex that's coming back. She's kind of crazy. She's trying to leak text messages that they had prior to J-Lo, saying that they were sexting, and she's trying to get him for $600,000.
Just give it to her. Just give it to her. Spencer, right off the bat, I'm thinking wonky on this one.
Are you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, let's keep it that way.
Let's keep it wonky. Because really, I mean, that happened before J-Lo, right?
It was before J-Lo, but allegedly they were sexting while he was with J-Lo in the beginning stages.
Yeah, but that's not.
Is sexting cheating?
It's definitely cheating.
Do you think so?
It's cheating, yes.
That's like saying reading would reading some kind of a sexual book be cheating? You're just reading.
The way Chris does his sex novels.
What is your sex novels of this summer?
All right. So Maestro was the one I was obsessed with last summer. Now there's a sequel coming out in July called Domina, which continues the story of this art student or whatever.
Maestro.
That's wonky. Chris is wonky today.
All right.
Wonky. But so, do you feel like that's a sexual event because he's reading that?
See, that is not, that's not a sexual event. I think that sexting, like when you're texting one person, nudes, trying.
Oh, no. Sending nudes is a different thing, but just writing things back and forth, that's like an interactive novel.
Like it was just like, I wish I saw your genitals.
Yes. I wouldn't mind putting my butt against your butt and seeing what happens.
Just doing the double butt.
For me, it's not physically cheating, but it's like mentally cheating.
Well, mentally cheating, if I'm walking down the road and I see a beautiful girl, is that mentally? Do I have to say, honey, I did something awful today? I mentally cheated on you?
See, if you act on it, get her number, start sexting her, that's mentally cheating to me.
But the others just having a little looky loop.
Yeah, here's the thing about Jen. You're setting your relations up for failure. That's what I believe.
It's never going to work.
So the next story is with Jerry Seinfeld and Kesha. This was really awkward. This was really, really awkward. This awkward hug. He didn't know who Kesha was. I thought everybody knew who Kesha was. Like,
I'm going to say right now I'm not familiar. Spencer, are you familiar with Kesha?
Yeah, I'm familiar with her.
Now, what's her deal? Is it wonky or not wonky?
I haven't really heard much from her yet, but
I feel like she's coming on.
She's the one who brushes her teeth with a bottle of Jack.
Okay,
That's all I remember. That's all I remember from that song.
So, Chris, why don't you hit this and we'll show what happened with Mr. Seinfeld. He's on the red carpet somewhere.
It's hard to just sleep when you're tired, because people are tired most of the time.
I love you so much.
Oh, thanks.
Can I give you a hug?
No, thanks.
Please?
No, thanks.
A little one.
Yeah, no, thanks.
Oh.
I don't know who that was.
That's Kesha.
Okay. Well, I wish her the best.
Now, who's at fault here, Kesha or Jerry, for creating the cringe moment?
They both contributed.
But who's wonkier?
I'm gonna go Jerry's wonkier.
You think he could have, you both think?
Yeah.
He is not a hugger. There are some people that don't like to hug. Spencer, are you a hugger?
I would say I am a hugger.
You are a hugger, so you would have taken the hug.
I probably would have.
Chris Stanley?
Not a hugger. I wouldn't be like Kesha. No, this isn't the right time for this.
We've talked about this before. We are all forced into hugs the way people in the past never had to deal with.
Yes.
Uncomfortable hugs.
I'm a hugger.
Yes, I know.
And I feel like if someone came up to me, they're also on the red carpet. You know what I mean? Like, I would already assume that I probably should know this, attractive young lady who looks like a pop star.
Jerry has, this is a well-known thing about him, though. He doesn't like to be hugged. I mean, I think there's even been Seinfeld's.
Yes.
That he doesn't want to be too close. And you could see that he was even frightened a little bit.
Yeah, well, that was the thing that made it so uncomfortable. It's not just that he denied her, but he's physically backing away from her.
Right. Like cooties. Like girl with cooties, like when you're in 3rd grade.
Oh, man, those were the days.
Oh, yeah.
I started to have a crush on girls in middle school, that's for sure.
Did you?
Actually, some had a crush on me. Wasn't comfortable yet, but when I got to high school, then it started coming in.
Yeah. Then you got comfortable.
I didn't realize I had the charms when I was younger.
Yeah. So it made you nervous at first, kind of Seinfeld.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Seinfeld kicked in back then.
Yeah. And then by the time you got into high school, you're like, no, bring it. I want it.
Now I want that.
Yeah. And college? How's college been for you?
Oh, it's great.
Lots of ladies?
Awesome. Yep, getting there.
Yeah, good. Good. So I'm going to say, I don't think you have a right to ask for a hug, particularly when somebody else is in an interview situation. I mean, we're all tired, but it doesn't mean that you're sleeping. You know what I mean? I'm tired. Then you're retired. You're tired again.
I think it was just like awkward how he made it seem like she was disgusting. Like, ew, no, get away from me.
Yeah,
like,
yes.
You have to do that.
He did physically look repulsed by her, I mean, everyone's allowed to say that's out of my comfort zone. And then she was like, oh, okay. And she looked a little upset, but it was that he was like running from her.
By the way, with the blonde hair like that, who's the beautiful girl who works here with the blonde hair like that? I always see her in the hall or the elevators.
I'm not sure who it is.
You know
the gentleman.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I don't know her name. I can find it out.
Okay, but just write it down, because now I don't want to make it a public thing. It's like middle school again, you know? I don't want to get wonky on it. You know? So I'm going to agree that she made the mistake. First of all, you just don't run. Could she run up to Jack Nicholson and hug him? Could she run up to, I don't know, whatever Lady and Princess Di's children are? You know what I mean? Could you write up to Obama and say, give me a hug while you're interviewing? Right. Jerry is a billionaire comedian. A billionaire comedian.
But Kesha's had it rough. I mean, they stole her career from her.
I don't know anything about her. I didn't know. See, so you're saying she's almost like a refugee.
Yes, there was like some free Kesha hashtags. Like that was like a year or two. That. Because it was one of those circumstances where the record company owned her and they wouldn't let her release the albums that she wrote. And it was very upsetting for her.
Like the JoJo situation.
Yeah.
All right, let me ask you this then. Let's suppose Kesha was being interviewed, and Jerry Seinfeld runs up. Oh my God! Well, let me give you a hug. Everybody'd be like, "What a creep he is!"
You think so?
Yes. Chris, creep? No creep. Wonky? No wonky.
Creep, definite wonky.
Okay.
It's a wonky creep.
Don't you think it's when a girl doesn't want to be hugged, everybody would say the guy was the creep?
I guess, but I guess it would be more inappropriate to force a hug. Like, she did ask for a hug. She didn't just run up.
That's forced, though. In my opinion, that's forced. That's like running up saying, well, if someone says to you, will you come to my wedding? It's very difficult. It takes a brave person like Mr. Seinfeld to say, no, I don't want anything to do with you and your family. Don't blame me on it.
There's actually a kind of guy that's called Where's My Hug Guy. That's this exact thing. And it's the kind of guy that walks around the office and goes up to the girls and goes, hey, where's my hug at?
I've known those guys. And they were all pervs. Every guy they knew was a perv. All right, what else we got? Well, let's dish.
George and Amal Clooney just had twins.
Yeah. Famous twins.
Okay, now, George never was a father, and
he was like a bachelor for a long time.
He was a bachelor, and now he's in his 50s with 2 little children.
Yes.
Did I just say this? Where's he supposed to get the money to pay for this?
It was kind of funny because Cindy Crawford's husband, he gave them diapers and like a huge container of tequila. So it was like a really weird like...
Who did this?
Cindy Crawford's husband.
Well, that's because they have a tequila company together, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
They used to be, they used to have places in Mexico right next to each other and would take vacations. I don't know whether they still do. Because the twins can ruin everything.
Yeah.
A lot of times you're like, I'd like to come to that party, but I have twins. Or, no, I wanted to go fishing, but twins.
Celebrity babies are one of those things I said, like, I wish that I wasn't interested, but I will be like psyched to see the first picture of the Clooney twins.
That's creepy.
I know
That's
it is.
That's wonky.
I'll give you that. I know it's wonky about myself.
What has been your favorite celebrity child of all time?
Oh my God, this is really difficult because I might have to say it is of the Jolie Pitt children.
Yeah.
It might have to be Maddox. Yeah.
Now, I remember when Page Six, I don't know whether they still do that, but they were putting up pictures of Tom Cruise's little girl almost every day.
Surrey Cruise, yeah.
Surrey Cruise was being followed around, and they were going like, is this the new Jackie O? And I'm going, what, this 4-year-old?
But she was like one of those kids when she was born, you were like, oh, that's a stunning
She was a
being.
charismatic, she's got a charismatic dad and mom.
Yeah.
They were outside their house, like trying to take pictures of the baby through the fucking window. And that was the
It's
first
very
picture
creepy.
of her.
I had like a fantasy that I would fight paparazzi to let them get into a car, and that the Surrey Cruise family would be like, "You're a true hero," and I'd be like, "Look, children come first in this country." Now,
takes a village.
I don't know how old she is now because I don't see pictures of her anymore.
She's like elementary school age.
All right, I got a dish for everybody.
All right.
Our own Jay Moore seems to be dating Jeannie Buss, the owner of the L.A. Lakers.
Whoa, that is quite a dish.
Now I have a buddy who's dating the owner of the L.A. Lakers, which kind of makes me on the inside.
Yeah. I mean,
I didn't even know about any of this. But he was in TMZ yesterday, and then somebody wrote it in the comments section. I'm like, what?
Really?
Could he end up owning the Lakers?
As far as I'm concerned, he does own the Lakers right now.
She might prenup that shit, though.
And then the other dish that I love, that Philly reporter that was talking so crazy.
Yeah.
She's now claiming that she was dosed.
Really?
And she has no memory. I'm telling you, she wasn't drunk by just the way that she was talking.
Her personality and the way she was communicating so clearly, that did not seem like a person intoxicated with drugs or alcohol to me.
We do have a clip of her, and here it is.
Well, what? I was just laughing. I'm sitting in the audience. I'm fucking laughing, and you can lick my asshole, because that's why people don't like cops. And you just want to arrest the beautiful ass people of the world is what you want to do. You want to arrest someone for laughing? There's your comedian. There he is, holding the camera. Hope you're proud of yourselves, okay?
I love her. I'm crazy about her. And I want to see her get a new job. Obviously, 17 is going to take her back, but what about a Channel 29, a 48? The old school UHF channels of Philadelphia. I'd love to see her come back. Now, also, I thought she was very attractive. Some people disagree.
She is considered one of the beautiful ass people of the world.
She is. I'd like to see her on tour with the Cash Me Outside girl who, here's another little thing, I don't know whether you got this on the dish, they have stopped the tour. The tour is not happening this summer. Yeah.
Why?
They say it runs into some other scheduling conflicts. I believe she's been off for 3 movies. One of them with James Cameron.
Come on.
Why does that come on?
I didn't think she was going to get Cameron money.
Oh, you don't even know. You don't even know why you yelled out, come on. Now you're like, I don't know what I'm saying.
I love that, like, she's her own version of, like, I didn't do it, kid. It's like, catch me outside is her catchprise. And she's just
I guess it's the young people that like her most, right?
Yeah.
They're like, finally, somebody speaking for us, the 14-year-olds.
Catch me outside, how about that? Catch me outside, how about that? That's what I said. What?
You heard her. She wasn't going to be caught outside. All right, more dish.
Well, Bobby Moynihan is expecting a baby girl.
No!
Celebrity!
Looks like they're going to be Mordahan coming up. Got it?
Yes.
More?
It's good. You should work for TMZ.
I would love to work for TMZ. Whatever happened to our TMZ buddy that used to be outside every day?
I thought I saw him today, but it was just a guy who looked like him. Yeah, I don't see him at all anymore.
I think I saw him like a week ago, but he was like on the other side of the building.
I know that he does stand-up, too.
Yeah.
How come I never see him around?
I don't know. Find out where he...
Oh, boy. I don't know. It's a big answer for me. Vito, between you and Chris and the I don't knows, I want to hear you guys answer I know.
I think he performed at Stand Up New York last time he was here. He told me that.
The fact that you said think is what destroyed this.
I don't know. Is your cash me outside?
Yeah. Did we ever get that name I'm looking for?
Waiting to hear back.
From who?
I asked someone in the booking department.
Oh my God, don't go around making this a bigger deal than it needs to be
I
made.
just sent one text.
Cash me outside, Chris. Cash me outside.
How about that?
We're going to fight?
Oh, does that mean fight?
I think it means fight, right?
No, I thought it meant let's get high.
The best is in that moment, her mom has to translate for her.
Yeah.
Because Dr. Phil's just like, what's that? What are you saying? And she's like, she's asking, she's saying anyone in the audience who wants to fight her can find her outside and can fight her there outside. So you go ahead and meet her outside if you want to fight my daughter.
Is she saying cachet me outside? Where's Vito walking around during the show? Vito,
The ship.
what is he up to? There's nobody on that board, Chris.
He's greeting a guest who's about to be here momentarily.
He doesn't need to greet guests. I got an entire team of guest greeters. But look how Chris just gives them the head shake. John, where are you going? All right, we'll let Spencer, you got to take this home for us. What else you got for Let's Dish? What is the other gossip that's happening?
Well, I don't really have that much in common, but the only thing that I'm aware about is politics.
Are you pro-Trump or anti-Trump?
I'm anti-Trump. But, when he won the election, and I know I was a little snotty the last time, but you know what? I should have said, because we're a democracy, no matter which candidate we get, we have to accept whoever we are.
Right, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
We have to accept it.
So you're pro-Trump now that we accept him.
Well, I don't like his policies, but I have to deal with it. I don't have a choice.
So you will serve. You will serve under this president.
I'll serve.
Yeah, all right. Vito, do you have a song called To Serve With Love? And it's like Lulu, but we change a couple of the words,
On hand?
Yes, on hand.
I don't have that on hand.
You know what, Vito? Just cash me outside. Because Chris has pointed out that I have the right to fight you by just saying, cash me outside.
Vito, what he's trying to tell you is you can go outside to fight him.
I don't want to go outside to fight
That's what
you.
he means by
I'm going
saying
to cash you. You can run, but I will cash you.
I don't want to get cashed.
You're going to get cashed.
So you got to run zigzag to try to get away from me, and then also duck your head down when I go to grab you. And then you come.
He's like a gator.
Yeah,
you got to zigzag.
He zigzags back and forth. Now I'm looking at the hearings today. I find it childish the way the photographers have to sit on the floor.
I
all
hate
around them.
seeing that. It's my least favorite thing.
Then they should get there earlier for a seat. That's what I say.
Give him a milk crate at the very least.
Chris, I don't know how old you are, but the last time anybody saw a milk crate, it was when poor people had to wear a barrel and suspenders. Now, if you don't like that, you can cash me outside.
He means that you can fight him for your statement that you just made.
Shit.
You can go outside and fight him if that's what you wish.
I don't want to.
By the way, I'm sure people will be sending pictures of milk crates. If Chris is wrong, then why is this already meme? But the night that you found out that Trump won, did it hurt?
It did hurt. I remember when I was coming back studying from the library, and I was at my dorm room with my friends, and it was a crazy night though.
Yeah,
I was up at I left my friend's room at 12 or 1 o'clock, and then I got to my room, watched the rest, and then I turned off, said, all right, goodbye, Trump's president. But there was a protest going on campus.
You ever join a protest?
I didn't, but for this one, I did.
Good. I was in a protest the other day, and we were all just chanting, 1, 2, 3, 4, cash me outside. 1, 2, 3, 4, cash me outside.
1, 2, 3, 4, cash me outside. 1, 2, 3, 4, cash me outside.
Maybe you should organize that protest.
I wouldn't mind. I can't get over how deep Spencer's voice is.
Yeah, it's very.
And you filled out a little bit too.
Yeah,
right?
you look.
Oh yeah,
you're bigger.
You look
You're
masculine.
working out.
Yeah, I'm working out.
Yeah,
Soul Cycle.
Soul Cycle. Yeah, he loves Soul Cycle.
That's true.
You did that last year too, right?
Oh yeah, hated it at first, but if you get your body into shape, then that's how you get used to it.
Yeah, that is true.
And they play music while you cycle. Is that the idea? It's kind of like a fun thing.
Yeah, no, it's pretty loud though. You got to follow the instructor. You got to do push-ups, sit-ups you got to do sit-ups on the bike as well. And you got to do weight lifts.
You know, Chris has never ridden a bicycle.
Never?
One time in your life. Maybe
Never.
this could be the summer bicycle.
Or
you
just
get a city bike.
Oh, wow. I don't want to ride a city bike.
Why?
I think people look silly on
You have your own lane. You have your own lane where people
Come on,
open up.
every time when you go to touristy places, people rent bikes. Come
Yes,
on, that's what you
it's
gotta
true.
do.
Yeah, man.
But I'm not a tourist. I live here.
I meant if you're visiting other cities.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What's the last big vacation you were on?
I went to London.
London.
I mean, I've been traveling a lot this year.
Good for you. You love London?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? On YouTube, people try to make the Queen's Guards laugh, but you do not mess with them.
You don't mess with them at all.
Don't ever mess with them.
You don't fuck with the Queen's Guard.
Now, what is with their hair? It's so high and it's so, like, thick like that.
What is that?
They have the biggest hairstyles I've ever seen.
Oh, for the guards?
Yeah.
Oh, it's actually made out of black bear skin. That's where they got it from.
So that's not their hair.
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's their hat.
Okay.
Or their helmet, whatever you want to call it.
I'm going to say helmet.
Oh, yeah.
Black bearskin. I didn't even know they had bears.
It's called the bearskin hats.
Yeah.
I didn't know that that's what that was.
But I can certainly tell you that these guards are pretty young. They look like they're my age, but I learned that people try to guard the Queen and they can enroll when they're 16.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that.
That's what they told me.
Yeah.
Can you think about enrolling? Serving?
Yes and no.
You know how to make
Plus,
them?
I'm not British. I'm American.
Okay,
Right.
true.
But still, I mean, we were one of the colonies.
If we had that for Trump, would you
guard Trump
a
with
president's
bearskin
guard?
hat?
If I have to, I have to.
Yeah. If I had to try to make him laugh, I would just go up to him and go up to their ear and I'd go like this. Catch me outside. Catch me outside.
What he's trying to say is
Look who it is. The world famous Bill Burr. Just walking up to us. His new show is in its second season. F is for Family. It's available on Netflix. You watching Netflix?
I do watch Netflix sometimes.
All right, so let's make some room for Mr. Bill Burr. F is for Family. He comes into his theme song wherever he goes now. It's
yes.
Like having the Olympic theme play or the presidential theme play. Is it good?
You know, that just made me wonder what it's like to be the president in, like, you know, your final term of 8 years. Going, oh gosh, just to not hear that song again. And you could, how do you follow that?
No,
there's no way. There's nothing you can say that can justify a horn section when you walk in.
When you walk in, wherever you go, you're the most important person. And, you know, it used to be that presidents would die right after their term. And now they live another 40 years. So if you're Jimmy Carter, you have 40 years of not being
He's like
president.
a contractor. He's got a little construction job.
Really, really inexpensive too. He hires kids.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. They never say what those houses are like or who does the plumbing. But the Habitat for, I think he's built more homes now than.
He's in my lifetime, I think he's the most decent human being that's had
he
that
really
job.
is, and I feel like he gets a bad rap for it. Like I feel like everyone would always be like he's dull. I'm like, he's a sweetheart, isn't he?
He gave a speech that if you go back and watch it, is just phenomenal. It's about we're turning to greed and we got to remember what we're doing. It was one of the most amazing speeches. And the entire country at the same time went, fuck you. We really do want stuff.
Yeah, no, it's very hard to be wired like him to get that. I don't even know how he got the job. Like to be,
yeah.
When was the last time you could say that the president was a sweethart? You know, everybody's like, hey, you're gonna be tough. You gotta fucking make them eat it. Grab them by the back of the neck and shove their face in the shit until they say they like it. And throw a couple of bombs at them for good measure. Like all of them leave with like, I just can't imagine the dead bodies on your conscience. You know, that's what's been cracking me up about all these post-presidential pictures of Obama. When he's like kayaking and shit, like they look like erectile dysfunction ads. It's just like this fucking guy. This guy was like for 8 years was you know all those drone strikes. You know, I mean, some of those didn't work out. Oh, were they just playing hacky sack? Oh, I thought they were plotting something. You know, I'm not shitting on him or anybody else. That is a fucking impossible job, and just like to come out of it still a sweetheart. And to be going around building houses.
Well, have you ever met a president while they were president?
Yes.
there's almost a crackling in the air, the amount of tension that there is.
I found it weird.
Yeah.
This is my story, okay?
Yeah.
A friend of mine was enamored with the whole fucking presidential motorcade. It came to Boston, right? Mm-hmm. So he goes, dude, I want to go down just to see the motorcade, just to watch him drive by. This is when Bill Clinton was in office, right? So I'm like, dude, I don't want to see that shit. Come on. He said, come on, man. So he talks to me and this other friend of mine is a total fucking pothead. He wakes us up early on a Saturday morning. So we go down there to go see it. So we're standing in this fucking crowd of people to watch a bunch of bulletproof Cadillacs go by, right? So right as he's coming down the street, right before he's going to see us, I'm so psyched. Like, great, we're going to see this shit. Then we can go home or go get a drink or something. They fucking bang a right. They go down this alley. So we don't even get to see it. And I was just like, dude, what the fuck? And he goes, oh, no. That's a woman's college. He's going to go in there. You know, he had it down. He goes, he usually speaks for like 45 minutes to 50 minutes and then he'll be out. So we're standing there and my buddy felt guilty. He goes, you guys want a slice of pizza? I'm going to go, like, all right, give me a slice of pizza. So we're standing there. He goes off to get this slice of pizza, right? He leaves for like 5 minutes. All of a sudden, Secret Service is walking down the street going, everybody have your hands up. Everybody just have your hands up where we can see him, blah, 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 all the tension. And I fucking look and Bill Clinton is walking down the street with like Ted Kennedy and all these Ted Kennedy, biggest fucking head I've ever seen in my life. And he's walking down the street. And what was funny was he wasn't saying anything. He just had his hands like, this is a fucking radio show. He has his hands up like he's high-fiving people. And he just had his mouth open, smiling, looking up in the air, not saying anything. And I touched his hand, softest fucking hands ever.
Sure.
And, you know, shook Ted Kennedy's hand. They get in the car and they fucking disappear. All right? All of that took maybe 30 seconds. And then they were gone. And then the thing drove away. The whole fucking thing was over. Everybody walks away. There's maybe a police horse, one of those little barricade things, and a couple of napkins swirling around. And my buddy comes back with the pizza. And he looks up from biting it. He goes, did I miss it? And I looked at him. I went, I shook his hand. And he goes, no, you didn't. And he looks at my buddy who's like a pothead. He's galloping in a circle going, I shook it twice. I shook it twice. And I thought there was literally something wrong with Bill Clinton. I thought like there was something when he was just sitting there like, he didn't say anything. He just had this same look on his face. And the next day, the cover of the paper, he looked like a champ. He was smiling. He had his hands up like that. So he was sort of working the media to make it look like we all loved him or whatever.
Right. They know, like, here's the photo op. This is how you have to act. So they don't care that much in the moment that it's strange. Because what lives on is that picture. What lives on is that thing. And it looked like
pure, unadulterated joy that he was having interacting with us, and that's what we felt back to him. And I was actually going like, did this guy have a fucking aneurysm and they haven't told anybody?
Right.
And how is a man's hands this fucking soft?
Never did an honest day's work.
Neither have I. My hands are pretty soft, but his were like, and they were like very like effeminate, soft. I'll never forget it. It was weird. It was weird.
But there's a crackling around that. They're like, you know, at that moment that you're touching hands, you're basically in the center of the whole political world. Right there, right?
I love that you started with that there was a crackle, and then I told you it was weird. I told you an 8-minute story, and you're going to go back to the crap.
No,
but I sold on this.
I do think that, you know, it's like show business. Like whenever you're at the center of where show business is, the Oscars could be the same exact way, where it's not as much fun to be there, but when you see it later, you have other people going, oh, that's a once in a lifetime.
That I would agree with.
Yeah.
I've never seen a president, but I've twice been as the motorcade went by.
Yeah.
But just seeing like the snipers on the roof and all that shit is really bizarre. Like going down, I guess I was probably down 6th Avenue, I think, was like maybe one of the times.
And that's millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Even Bill seeing him go by that day, the planning that took for that guy to be on the street next to Ted Kennedy, you know, there's thousands of people paying attention, watching everybody, seeing whether your friend is dangerous or not.
It kind of sounded like he just sort of decided to do that the last second because the cops and they seemed pissed.
Oh, yeah.
Like they were upset, like how much more difficult he was making, their job. I also saw Ronald Reagan one time with Anwar Sadat.
Wow.
Family trip to D.C. and he came out and gave a speech and I couldn't we were back when you could stand that close at the gate. It just looked like a bunch of white dudes in suits.
Right.
And the tan guy was Anwar Sadat. That was the only way I could tell. But they were that far away.
Well, Reagan is the reason that you can't go up as close as you used to. Before, when I was a kid, you could go up. It was pretty easy to get into the White House, walk around, and they would take it. And then after Reagan got shot, they're like, look, we got to figure out.
Yeah, you could take tours.
Yeah, you could take tours. Like
then 9/11 was another one that they blocked it all up.
Yeah, 9/11, they basically stop you from using the street anymore.
Right.
I want to get to something from F is for Family. This is my favorite thing about the show, and I don't see anybody else doing this.
Okay.
The fact that Kevin has a prog rock thing. There's progressive rock is almost a forgotten rock and roll thing, but for a couple of years, it was the biggest thing that we had.
Mm-hmm.
What's the reason behind?
Just because disco had been done to death.
Yeah.
And the whole, Led Zeppelin stuff that had all been done before. And we're like, what kind of music? So we're just trying to think what he was into. And like, we were just like, no one's really messed with prog rock. I play drums as a hobby or whatever. Mm-hmm. And like, it always cracks me up, like the crap that Phil Collins gets because of all of his, pop shit that he did. It's just like, dude, that guy is a beast of a drummer. Back when Genesis was Genesis early on, when Peter Gabriel and all those guys were in it. So, but it was also very, self-indulgent. It really loaned itself to comedy. So, I think, that was, I think that might have been a Mike Price idea, co-created the show. I think he came up with that one. But we've had a ton of fun with that, and that the fact that he's like not into like mainstream music. I think that's very true to a lot of like musicians because they want to set themselves apart, and plus they're gonna be musicians, so they have a better ear, and they kind of think that
that's always
a lot of pop stuff is bullshit or whatever.
That's always amazing when you meet a musician. You're like, oh, they hear music differently. Like Steve Jordan will come in and do the show, who's one of the great drummers of all time.
Wow, and that's one of my favorite drummers ever.
And he's always like, how in the Stones song where you hear, and I'm like, I don't even know. I know that you hear it, but I don't.
I'm always like, I like singing to this part.
But he's hearing, that you could hear that music as all the parts, not the sum of the parts, but each part is his ear can break that down. And it's always stunning. And that's why those guys can pick up something immediately. You know
what time I take drum lessons and I sent a video of, this drum kit that I was playing on to my teacher. And it was really shitty video. And I was like, listen how good these drums sound, because this theater knew that I played drums. So they actually rented a drum kit. So during the day I could actually play in the kit. It was really cool.
Yeah.
And, so I sent him just the video, and he nailed the snare. He was like, that sounds like whatever. It was like some big marching snare.
Yeah.
He knew exactly what it sounded like. He knew that it was stainless steel. He knew the whole, just from the sound of it. And it just amazed. I was like, how do you, he goes, dude, it's what I do for a living. Like, it's literally where I just hear drums.
Right.
He knew like what brand it was, because the front of the kit was like a Ludwig, but the snare was a DW. And he's like DW endorsed, I believe. And he knew exactly what the dimensions of it. It was an odd shaped snare.
Yeah.
The whole thing. And it was like completely, it was like, to me, that was better than any psychic. Guessing what was in my wallet,
Who was the drummer for you when you were a kid? Was it Phil Collins, or was there?
No, I didn't discover the prog rock stuff until I was, that stuff was happening. I was a little kid. That was way beyond me. But, when I was a kid, it was the first, like, the heavy metal drummers. Like, I was into Phil Rudd. They're more rock and roll, but like Tommy Lee and, Nico McBrain. I got into those guys, and then after that, then I started getting into John Bonham, and John Bonham became like this, like, John Bonham is like the Charlie Parker for drummers, where like, I always hear like so many of those jazz guys, just nobody can kind of almost get past what that guy did.
Right.
Bonham was that for a long time, where everyone was just trying to get his sound and all that. And I literally went out and I bought like a 1970s green sparkle Ludwig, all the same sizes as his, all the same cymbals, the pasties. They had the Rogers hi-hat, the whole thing. And one day this year, I actually thought, what if John Bonham came back to life and for whatever stupid reason came to my house and I said, hey, John, I'm a really big fan of yours. Check out my drum kit. I just pictured him walking in there and then slowly backing out like this was some single white female shit. And I realized that I was kind of like, my approach to drumming, if I did the same thing as a comedian, I'd be this brutal joke thief hack. So I've since sold it, and I just ordered a Gretsch kit that are more like the sizes that I would like, and I'm picturing cymbals and stuff. But yeah, and then Steve Jordan became a huge. First time I heard him was with the Blues Brothers, and then Expensive Winos with Keith Richards, and of course with the Letterman Band. And I've been following him right on through that time when Keith Richards played with Chuck Berry.
Right. They did that that biopic.
Yep. There was Martin Scorsese's Blue thing. I've been following his career since the 80s. I'm a huge fan of his.
Have you met him? I think he's coming. Is he coming in this week or
next week?
Next week.
I met him one time on the street.
Yeah.
And I freaked out. And I was just like, and I was a no-name comedian, and I actually invited him to my show. And I immediately felt stupid. He was like, kind of doing this session. I think he was doing the thing for Martin Scorsese. Right. It's like, yeah, listen, I'd love to go see your 8 minutes, but I have to go into a studio with Martin Scorsese and document the history of the blues. So I won't be able to see you do your, what's up with, Monica Lewinsky jokes tonight.
Well, he's one of those guys that's literally in demand.
John Mayer, when he's played with John Mayer.
Yeah, John Mayer, the trio. And now he's producing all of that, like I think he was producing, the last time I talked to him, 4 or 5 albums at the same time, 4 different people all playing, and he's doing something with Robert Cray, doing another one for John Mayer, doing his own project, and there was 2 more. And you're like, now you've got to be able to switch that, you know what I mean? Like to play with the musicians that you're with at the time and where their heads are at. I
don't know. Well, what about they sit in a room for like 2 hours trying to get a good snare sound,
right?
Bass drum sound, and then they'll do the whole album, and then they realize the drums didn't sound right or something else, and they just say fuck it and they redo it again, and it sounds like recording sounds miserable to me. It sounds like the furthest thing from why you probably became a musician, which was to have fun playing music, connecting with other people. When you turn it into like the business,
right?
Of we have to get this sounds like a hit,
But
how many BPMs is this?
Yeah, some of that you find out that it's because that music lasts forever. You know what I mean? So they want to get done. I remember the first time I heard 9 Inch Nails, and I'm like, "What is that sound?" And they're like, "That's his drum sound." I'm like, "Well, I'd never heard." You know what I mean? So, is there metal in it somehow? What the hell just happened? And those guys do that, and it lasts for a long time, and they become known for that one piece that they added to music. It's crazy.
Yep. And then through those guys, you find the people before them, like Ministry.
Right.
I think Trent was actually a roadie for them. I'm like a total music geek. So I've gone back probably 10 times just to the decade of the 80s to listen to stuff that I should have been listening to instead of Pour Some Sugar On Me or whatever pop music I was. But I should have been listening to pop. I was like 16, 17, 18 when that stuff came out. And so I still like all of those bands and everything, and I don't shit on any of the hair metal bands or rock bands from them. They totally served a purpose, and it was music made for people my age. Mm-hmm. So which is why today, I don't look at I have been guilty of making fun of some of that DJ music, but then after I was done, I was like, you know what? There's got to be the Richard Pryors of DJ music, you know what I mean? So that there has to be an art form to it, or else there wouldn't be the top few guys. And then I'm sure a couple of them have a fucking gimmick, so they're really bullshit. And other DJs go, that's just a gimmick.
But that's always interesting.
There's always that. There's always the guy with fucking smashing fruit with a hammer.
But right. But that's always interesting when the music comes along that you're like, well, I don't relate to this, yet you can see 50,000 kids going crazy. Like that kind of whole scene was the first time that I think I went, I don't know what I'm missing. I don't know what DNA strand that they now have that I'm not feeling this in the same way.
Because you know what happens is I just think that you get married, you have kids, and you don't have time. Mm-hmm. And what happens is you can't jump the gap between what you missed to what they're now listening, because it all flows and develops.
Right.
I mean, it's very rare that something just comes out of absolutely nowhere.
Yeah.
It's always kind of feeding off something else. So if you, it's like what I saw a lot of stand-up comics, back when like the sitcoms was like the big thing to get, and they go on a run of like 7-8 seasons, and you could kind of maybe leave for 3, 4, maybe 5 years, 5 at the most. But those guys that left 7, 8 years, when they would try to come back, and once again, you're trying to jump that gap from where comedy was at, because it does evolve like music. If you're not keep going into the clubs, like you see them come back, and it's like
painful.
Dun, 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 and what's up with 8-track tapes, or whatever. So you have to stay in there. And even as much as I'm in the clubs, like I think it's really important for you to see the new kids coming up, to appreciate what they're doing, and to never be, oh, that's not music, that's not comedy. Yeah. You got to try to sit there and be like, okay, how did this get here, and try to appreciate it. But,
or even like when you first got into music, you were open to it. So like if you're 13 or 14, you're open to it. But then once you hit like 40, you're comparing it to other stuff. You know what I mean?
And where your life was.
Yeah, where your life was. You were so raw and open to stuff.
And it also, like, it feels good to be young. So the things that are associated around it are like, oh, that's why you like all that stuff. That's why you have nostalgia, is that you are young in that moment.
It reminds you, being young and free. Nowadays, music reminds most old guys about alimony and child support. It's not the same.
Yeah.
Like, remember 2017? Yeah, it sucks. It took the fucking house. I fucking hate DJ music, So that's, maybe there's something to be said about that. It's probably why I still love and always will love McDonald's, even though it's so bad. I don't know. They keep, I saw signs of it recently, last couple of years, of like, now with 100% pure beef, which to me it was just like, all right, what the fuck was it before?
Yeah. But there was like a time in your life when like your dad was taking you to McDonald's, and that was like a big deal, and everybody was excited on the way there.
Oh yeah.
But there wasn't a McDonald's every 50 feet the way there is now. Like you were like going over into the next town.
No, I remember it was the greatest thing ever. Like, you want to go to McDonald's, it was always yes. And for the longest time, he would just order for all his kids. It would be cheeseburger, small fry, chocolate shake.
Yeah.
And then him and my mom was like, 2 Big Macs, 2 large fries, 2 large Cokes. And I remember being like, getting to a certain age where the cheeseburger and small fry weren't filling me up, but I was too afraid of my dad to ask for more. So we had to go through my mother and just be like, hey, can we get a quarter pounder? And she was just like, well, I think the kids are getting a little bigger and they want a quarter pounder with cheese. And he was just like, yeah, fine. That's fine. And like for years, I would go home from McDonald's still hungry and go home and like sneak a bowl of cereal or something because I was too afraid. And that's like F is for family. Like that's the world that existed in, where you were afraid of your dad. I always joke, like my dad would come home. If he came, whatever door he came in, we went out. If he came in the front door, we went out the back door. And it was like, good luck, Ma, Or you'd grab like a book and pretend like you were reading. You'd shut the TV off. But he would still find something. It was sort of, I don't know. I can't now, I understand now. As you get older, you understand, like, this guy was just coming home to a bunch of birds in a nest, like, needing to be fed, and he already had the stress of his fucking job. He had to come home to that, so.
Right.
I have a lot of empathy now.
Sure. But that thing of trying to read his face coming out of the driveway, too. Because, like you said, there's no doubt that no matter how much you try, the father is on the outside of whatever the circle is, know, the mother. And I would think that it'd be weird if it was any other way, I
gotta be honest with you, I kind of like being on the outside.
Yeah. I don't.
Yeah, I don't, that's like, I look at that job, that's like being president. Like, I don't want that job. So I don't mind being on like the, there's just certain things,
Well, I remember the first time my chick left me alone with the kid. When she came back, I was like talking to her, like I told her every single thing that happened, rather than the fact that she's doing this the other 23 hours
today
and
was
45.
hell.
I go, yeah, then she did this, so I did this. Like I was like I was in Vietnam. I was.
But
so
you want to
alive.
make sure that you did it right, though. That does still to this day. When like I'm cool with my daughter, but when my wife leaves.
Yeah.
Like there is that thing that hits me like, I am alone right now, fully responsible for a toddler. Like, what if something happens right now? Like, what am I going to do? Like, one of my brothers said that one time. He goes, you wait. He goes, the day they give you your baby, you're going home. My brother was just going like, this thing hits you where you're just like, I can leave with you're trusting me with this. And it's like, this is yours.
It's crazy.
And you walk out and that first time you're, just driving down the street and that first time you have that fear and you start becoming that guy, hey, slow down! It's like, oh my God, I've become that guy. And I think then I immediately thought of all the times I was driving like a fucking maniac and older people were beeping at me. It finally hit like, oh my God, I was wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
I was wrong.
Well, this is the thing, like when she's pregnant, all you're trying to do is get to the baby being born because that feels like the end. Like that feels like the finish line.
Sure.
Right. When we have the baby, everything, you'll be able to sleep better, things will be easier. And then the rest of your life opens up once the kid is born. And you're just like, yeah, I mean, you really find out what it's like to be in some kind of service. Even if you're a bad dad, even if you're the worst dad ever, I don't think it leaves those guys' minds, you know?
Yeah.
Even guys that take off, they're carrying that around.
I don't understand how you could do that. Like all that shit is terrifying now. I actually thought like the first time I was going to bring my daughter out just on our deck. The second I walked out there, I immediately had this vision of a bird of prey swooping out of nowhere, just grabbing her, and how I would somehow pull the bird back down, and without my daughter falling. And it's just like you can get it can make you the fearful thoughts if you don't pay attention to them.
Yeah.
It's same thing with like being a comedian. If you start thinking too many negative thoughts, am I the guy that doesn't make it, blah, blah, like they can eat you up inside. Like you will literally not leave the house. And I just realized for the first time I took her for a walk around the block. It was the first time I took her out into public without my wife there. And that was sort of it's like, okay. And it was hilarious. Like I had her in like the car seat also goes into like the thing you push there. What do you call it? Stroller, right? I'm new to this. So I don't know all the lingo. So I didn't strap her in because she hates that. So I didn't want to make her cry. I'm like, all right, well, I mean, we're not driving down the street. It's just a stroller or whatever. So then I'm pushing her and I got the thing up so the sun won't hurt her. And then like the curb was a little bit too high and I brought up the front wheels and she started coming out of the thing. And I was like, oh my God. And then I had the whole horror thought of her falling out, hitting her head, and then just keeps going, rolls off the curb, a truck's coming, and I had to literally just stop for a second and just strap her in the thing and just be like, oh my God, I was almost like one of those fucking YouTube stupid parents. Like, you know, and then there'd be a bunch of people who were never parents going like, maybe she fucking stabbed the kid in. Yeah, right. Fuck my life, shaking my head. You know, they know everything afterwards. Right. So I was almost that person. So, you know, it's been like amazing so far. And I'm really big on keeping a chill, relaxed vibe at home. And I don't like when she meets people where they talk in heightened voices in baby talk. Cause I think that the same way, like if someone meets a dog, first time you meet a dog, you'll be like, oh, screaming at it. Dogs like, you know, they go to your energy. Right. It's supposed to be chill, you know, barely pay attention to them, whatever. So like when you meet like a kid, like the same thing, like I try to be like, even when she's crying, I always try to keep my voice calm and everything. And we got this really, I don't know how, considering I'm her dad, everybody says, oh my God, she's so chill and relaxed. And all I think is like, thank God, I fooled her for another day. Right. She hasn't picked up on my energy yet. So, I have a lot of work that I need to do on myself. So, cause I don't want her to be like me. Right. You want her to be like my wife. Yeah. Yeah.
First of all, that's a smart move on your part, like that you could see something. Cause I can't stand the people who like, I want the kid to do what I did, or I want the kid to live out my dreams. But if you, if you found somebody that you're like, the same reason that you were attracted to your wife in the first place, why wouldn't you want that for the kid? You know? Why wouldn't you want?
I have like a demon in me that has been passed down through my tree, and I'm trying to choke it out and kill out the rest of it. My dad took a nice chunk out of it. I'm going to try to take a sizable chunk. I don't want to pass on, a lot of me.
Right.
To her.
Well, what is it? There's a Bible thing that says the sins of the father go on for stuff. And that's literally what that means. Is like when you learn something shitty, it takes like 7 generations to kick it out of the family completely. Because people end up, if they don't break that cycle, they end up the exact same way that they were treated. It was why you find out that every psycho killer was beat up when he was a baby, you know?
Well, yeah, then what's bad too is by the time you figure it out that you are just like that, you usually already have a kid, so you've already started to, like, thank God I waited.
Yeah.
Because that would have been like, like when you watch the baton race, when they seamlessly hand it off, that would have been.
But I also think it's important, like, even when the kids get older, to go, I know you probably thought of this, but this is what kind of a dick I was when you were little. You know what I mean? Like, this is where my head was at. Like, I didn't know that there was any kind of budget because my parents didn't tell me. So like years later, I'm like, yeah, we used to camp outside, and for some reason we wouldn't stop. My parents were like, we didn't have a lot. You know what I mean? Like, that vacation was all the money that we had. We couldn't afford to break down in the car. And I'm like, fuck, I missed that completely. You know?
It's like, that's just great. How we do it.
Yeah.
But that's great parenting. Because you didn't, if you didn't have a lot and you didn't feel that, then they did a tremendous job.
Right. Well, they made it, the camping was weirdly all anyone in my family remembers of our youth. Like, when the entire family get together, we talk about camping in Canada. Like, maybe that was our life instead of a week every summer for what, 5-6 years or something.
You know what's funny? We had financial trouble, and I wasn't. My older brother knew about it, but I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Like, we kind of lost a house and then went to a duplex, and I was too stupid to realize that was a step down. I thought it was a cool house, and they had this big yard you could play in.
Right.
And I didn't realize, like, it was like, wait, we used to have our own house. And now and now we're sharing it with somebody else who we're renting. And I didn't realize that was, I was always fucking clueless. So I think in a good way. I think I was always in my own world.
Yeah, I think that is true, though, because when you're a kid, your life is as good as your buddies, right? Like, if you have good friends when you're a kid, everything else is okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. But if you're in some neighborhood where you're worried you're getting bullied or there's no one to play with, it seems like your life is a fucking nightmare, no matter how nice your shit is.
You could write for our show. That's literally like the tone and everything that we're talking about, and, there was a thing where, 2 of the little kids have like a falling out.
Yeah.
So initially, what was written on the page was, the kid comes over to the other kids, hey, listen, sorry about yesterday, blah, 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 all this shit. And, we find he's like, kids don't fucking apologize like that. What he did was he came over, it was awkward, and then he has like one of his favorite baseball cards, and he asks him if he wants it. And then the kids say, and that's the way, that's the way it was done. It wasn't like this, you were this evolved person.
Right.
Feel like, I know the reason why I said that, because that brought up this emotion and blah, blah. That's like fucking someone who's been to therapy for 10 years can say that. So, that's something with the show that we try to do is you try to like, if a kid's going to tell an adult to go fuck himself, there's going to be ramifications on the show. The adult's at least going to chase the kid down the street.
Right.
Maybe call the parents and say, you're going to get in trouble. You're going to get grounded. Cause I've noticed just in my time of being a comedian that like that style of comedy of just absurd came in, which I love. I love absurd, but it kind of went off the rails to the point you would watch entire shows where it was so absurd you couldn't give a shit about. You weren't invested in anybody. You were just watching just weird behavior. And then someone talking to a camera about the weird behavior, yet he's still hanging out with these people or working with them, and it's just like, why don't you get another fucking job? Or at least don't hang out with them after work. I never understood, like I don't know, maybe I'm too literal.
Well, that's the, when you talk about the childhood stuff, the other thing I like Kevin has asshole friends, and you tend to do that when you're younger. Like, you can accept really flawed people. as your best friends
And
when
it's
you're a
probably
kid.
easy as an adult to forget that exact thing and to forget what you said when kids don't really apologize. Cause I have memories of my mom being like, didn't he kick you last week?
Yeah,
and you're just like, but now we're playing. You know what I mean? Like
we wanted to fucking kill that kid that became your boyfriend in first or second grade because he dead leg you or something?
Yeah, what happened was we were playing soccer and I scored a goal. Yeah. And then he dead legged me and caused a huge bruise on my thigh.
A boy did that?
Yeah, a boy did it.
First grade.
And my mom was like, he's dead. And I was like, I guess, whatever. And then a week later, I was like, he's my boyfriend. And they were like, what are you talking about?
Right. We're like, what is she, an abuse victim? This turns her on, but you just drop it when you're a kid. You forget that.
Yeah.
Now, how did you as a dad, were you looking for that kid's parents?
No, the kid himself. I was going to beat the fucking kid up. I seriously felt, because, I was like a really young dad and I had only been a fucking adult for 2 or 3 years. So I was very pissed, but then you do have
Did you cry?
Just.
I'm sure I did.
Kids cry all the time.
Yeah, I'm sure.
No, but you saw your daughter get kneed by another
No,
boy.
I didn't see it. No, I didn't see it happening.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's like she came home and told us, and then like I said, 2 or 3 days later, that was her boyfriend.
So now this little bastard's coming over to the house.
Well, he's too little too. I mean,
this is like elementary school.
Elementary school, and these kids, that was the first generation where the kids weren't even out on their own. You would get a call from the parents that they're going to walk your kid home. You're like, why did we move to this nice fucking neighborhood if we're acting like we're in the inner city? But that was the first time.
Did you remember that shit? That would never, I would never let that happen. I'm so fucking scared. They make it seem like there's some guy behind every tree. We used to we just walk to school every single day. I used to paper route.
Me too.
Get out there, I always thought that too, dressed as a paper boy. That's gotta be some pedophile's French maid outfit. I was just asking for it.
Well, your show was the first show that I ever saw that showed collecting. People forget that not only would you deliver the paper, then you had to knock on everybody's door and ask for the couple of bucks, and somebody would be owing you money like you were in the mob or something.
Oh, then you'd be afraid to come up if they. I remember anywhere around $7 was huge.
Yeah, it got to be gigantic.
Yeah, I remember one time this guy owed $11.25, and fortunately he had a good sense of humor. He's like, Jesus Christ, why don't you just take my car? It was a lot of money back then. But we used to, we delivered papers every 365. Every day of the year, and Sundays my dad would take us around. That's where that scene came about. We had a Chevy Chevette, and we had so many papers. There were so many kids that we'd have the hatchback open.
Right.
That's how we came up, because my brother fell out the back one time. He went over a bump, and we were freezing on the back, and we had these, remember those Mighty Mac jackets?
Yeah.
That was the original North Face. So he had his hands in his pocket, and he went over a bump. My brother, I remember, went up in the air, was literally horizontal, and hit the road and rolled. We were only going maybe 15, 20 miles an hour. And I had to yell, Dad, my brother, fell out the back, and he said, Jesus Christ, and he backs up. For Christ's sake, fucking hang on! You know what? And that was his expressing the love he had for his kid that he always heard, that you sort of yell, It's that Mills Brothers song. You always hurt.
The one you love. But even the fact that your dad would help you do that some days, instead of you walking it, your dad would drive while you chuck the papers.
Sundays the papers were too big. Still.
And there was inserts, because would they make you do the inserts yourself?
Oh, yeah.
That was a fucking nightmare. I used to take them to the sewer, chuck them. I was like, no one's getting inserts.
I never thought to do that.
Yeah. There was those big sewers in the suburbs, and the whole thing just went down there. F is for family. Great to see you again, Bill. I'm glad this is working out for you.
Yeah, it seems to be going all right. Thank you guys so much. Very nice to meet you, too, by the way. Thank you for helping me promote the second season. Hopefully we can come in and I can do the third season. If not, I'll do one of your up-closes. And we can talk about what happened to your TV show. Thank you, guys.
Right back, Bennington. Chris Stanley just gets Bill Burr a little misty there. Bill just brought up something that he ran into us years ago when you were a little kid. I forgot all about it.
I completely forgot about that.
We were in some pizza joint,
Yeah.
And he walked over, and you and your brother were very young then. It was very sweet. I forget. You know what? It's always, because he wasn't Bill Burr then.
Right.
You know
of
what
course.
I mean? He was like, hey, this guy's funny. Bill Burr. You know what I mean? But now, like anybody would be like, there's Bill Burr. There's Bill Burr at the pizza place. I love that shit of bringing back stuff that doesn't exist anymore, and the Paperboy stuff. Nightmares when you were a kid. But one thing I remembered, because I was too young to, and I never been like a kid that had like a lot of wants of like, oh, I want to buy this thing. So there would be this bowl, it would be like a punch bowl that my mom had in the china closet. And I used to just throw my money in it all the time until there was this big fucking thing of money because I wasn't spending it. And my mom would be like, Ronnie, I borrowed $10 and pay you back on payday. And I'm like, okay. You know what I mean? Like, it became to be like a bank for the family if they ever needed to go in. Because I don't think the entire time, until I started smoking marijuana and buying albums, I don't think I ever wanted anything. And sometimes you meet kids and they want shit.
Right. They're like, oh, did you see this thing? Or, yeah.
I never was, what about you, Chris? Were you,
I liked comic books. That's pretty much it. Not even really
comic books used to be pretty cheap, though.
Yeah, it was like, I think, $2 maybe for a comic book.
I'm a lot older than you. $2 for a comic book would have been a fucking Superman #1.
Yeah, I don't remember being too much like, I liked hanging out with my friends. And
you and your
liked,
brother never wanted for anything.
Yeah, I kind of liked spending time and hanging out and talking to people was kind of like my favorite thing to do.
That's what I was too. But some kids, and I'm looking over at Jen, I'm sure there was a pair of boots you had to have, a purse.
Yeah, definitely. Like shirts, boots.
I never was that way.
Yeah.
I never thought a thing could change. Like, I don't know why.
I didn't even think about clothes that way until I was like in my 20s. Like until I was, you know what I mean? Like until I was like buying my own clothes that I was like, oh, like I can have like a fashion and like make that a priority of things that I buy.
Stuff you want.
Yeah, like instead of just being like, oh, this looks kind of cool. Yeah, I'll do this.
Did you know Burr was a drummer?
I didn't realize that. That's so cool.
When he's with the Comedy Jam, I should have brought up Comedy Jam with him. He doesn't sing, he goes out and drums with them, and he has
That's
a fucking
awesome.
great time.
That's so cool.
They're coming to Montreal, too. Comedy Jam.
Nice.
What is it, Chris? You had a piece of paper?
Yeah, we have a live read.
About what?
Tito's vodka.
I love Tito's vodka.
Me too.
The other thing about Tito's vodka is it's America's original craft vodka. And you know this only started in 95? What's that, 21 years ago?
Yeah.
And that's like when Pearl Jam was big. Like just when Pearl Jam was like peaking, Tito's vodka came out. Here's the deal what Tito did. Tito Beverage. He gets the first legal permit to distill in Texas, which that sounds insane to you, right?
Yeah, that's crazy.
And by the way, when we go back to Texas, I actually looked this up because of the show that I'm watching. Marfa, Texas is the name of it. It's in the middle of nowhere. It's a 6-hour drive from Austin. And it's a tiny little town, like 1,800 people. And there's all these art installations, these giant, crazy statues and stuff like that.
I want to check it out.
They say it's like where people from Austin go when they want to get weird. There's something about Texas, and to me, like Tito Beverage is like the Texas guy.
Yeah. He is like...
I'll do it myself. Every good thing about Texas, right? That kind of do-it-yourself, I'm going to be able to pull this off. That's what Tito Beverage reminds me of.
Also, he's the kind of dude, he's clearly had incredible success with Tito's, and he stays Austin. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. And he's been up, he's down, he worked in the oil business before that. But don't you think that, like, the Texas attitude used to be the American attitude at one point? Like, Texas is almost the distilled American attitude where something good can come out of this.
Yeah, well, like Texas has like that cowboy icon, and like that becomes Texas, but that used to be like Americans were cowboys.
Yes.
But Texas still has that.
Right. Well, Tito pulled it off. And here's what I love about it too, with Tito's vodka. He doesn't try to get fancy with it. He doesn't try to overdo it. He's got the modest paper label, simple bottle. All you pay for is exceptional handmade vodka. Tito still makes the vodka by hand. Same land where it all started, Austin, Texas.
Tito's handmade vodka is distilled 6 times from 100% corn and is naturally gluten-free. Visit us at titosvodka.com for recipes, songs, and more. 40% alcohol by volume, handcrafted to be savored responsibly.
Hey, it's the Bennington show on, what's today, Wednesday?
It is. Yeah.
Maybe I'll come by to the up-close show. That's why I used to have a TV show and I lost it. I don't know what we're talking about here. Are we ready to, okay. So here's the deal. We found out we're doing a town hall, kind of a last minute town hall. Eddie Izzard town hall happening next Wednesday, June 14th. It's at 9 a.m. That's early for me. But everybody here is going to get a copy of his new book. Believe me, a memoir of love, death, and jazz chickens. Everybody come into the town hall gets a free Eddie Izzard book.
Nice.
Yeah.
One of my all-time favorites.
Yeah.
Brilliant guy.
I love Eddie. I've been a fan of his for a long time, so this is going to be great.
Cake or death. That was the first time I remember Eddie Izzard. I thought it was the funniest little bit that he did. He also will learn a language and go do stand-up in that language, which is impossible.
Yeah, that's so crazy. Anytime anybody does stand-up in another language, like even...
In English, I'm amazed.
That's true. But it's not just knowing the language, it's like the cultural references, like how to make people laugh.
Well, when you think of how much comedy is wordplay. Yes. You know?
So much of it.
I'm going to try to do comedy in different accents. That's my, I'm not going to go for the full language.
Sure.
So Eddie Izzard, you'll get the book, you get to meet him, you get to be at the town hall, you may even get to ask a question, because town hall is basically unmasked, but you get to ask a question.
Yes. So you get a little you time.
Now, Chris, if you got to ask Eddie Izzard anything, what would you ask?
What made you start running all those marathons?
What made you start running all those marathons? I bet the answer to that's going to be fascinating. What would you ask him?
I would probably ask him something about his love for history and the way he has used that in his special. Like, what was it about doing that? Because it was so unique, and
it was bizarre.
It was so unique. And I think it was like a really funny thing that hadn't really been done before.
I would probably ask him if he would get me some potato chips if he's gone down to the thing. Would you run out and get me a cup of coffee?
I'm starving.
Wait a minute, that might be a great new show that we put on. Coffee from the Rich and Famous. I'd ask Bill Gates to get me a Danish.
And also potato chips.
I was seeing this. Remember when Richard Branson was the space guy? And now they're saying Amazon, the place that delivers books to you, destroying the Virgin space plants. They're way out ahead of them, yeah.
Amazon is taking over. It's so weird.
Everything, no matter where you go. He's about, what's the Amazon? I think his name is Bob Amazon. Bob Amazon is about to become the richest person on the planet Earth. And if that ever happened to me, I would go like this to my father. So is this enough? Does this prove it? Can I finally take a break? I got more money than anyone else on the planet. Mind if I take a week for myself now and just relax and stop chasing that rabbit?
You know what you ought to do?
Oh boy. So the Philly Reporter that got arrested has hired a PR firm and sent out the Apollo G. That's up on the iBank. She was drugged. Again, I'm on her side. And the other big story up there today, look at her. She looks great.
Yeah.
The other big story up there today is the New York commuters have the ride from hell, which would have been your ride. Am I correct when I say that?
Yes. So I am on the F train about that time every day, leaving here, going that direction. So I would have been one of these people stuck on the train underground. I believe it was 45 minutes in the tunnel, no power. So I get stuck all the time. But you have power. You
have air conditioning.
You have air conditioning.
You got move. It's when the air stops when people start to lose their shit. When you hear the train shut off.
Right.
That's the fucking worst feeling in the world.
And then you're in like hot darkness. Like. Yes. Pressed up, because this is also rush hour, so most of these people don't have seats, I'm guessing.
Yeah, everyone was standing up. It was packed cars on the F train in New York City.
What do you take to come in, Chris?
I take the N train to come in.
Now, where do you stop on the way in? What are your stops? My
first stop is, I get off at 49th Street, but first stop...
No, not your stop. Where's your train stop once you get on?
It stops.
You get on in Astoria.
Yeah.
What's the first stop it makes?
The first stop it makes is Queensboro Plaza in Queens.
All right. Second stop.
Second stop is underneath the tunnel, 59th Street, Lexington.
So you go all the way from Queensboro travel.
From the Queensboro Bridge. That's where the stop is at the bridge, and then it goes underground underneath the East River and stops at 59th Street.
Oh, before that, it's above ground?
It's above ground, yeah.
I didn't know that his train was above ground once he got to Queens.
Yeah, a lot of the Queens trains eventually get above ground.
I know I took that one out to see a Mets game, and you're above ground, but they're making so many stops that you can see the next stop while you're sitting at this stop. You can see the people, and I'm like, what are they, 50 fucking yards away? Why are we stopping every 50 yards?
My train goes above ground for 2 stops. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm above ground for a little bit. And after me, it's above ground for a little while. Mm-hmm. But so I do have like a moment where I'm out for a little bit, and then I've got to go back underground.
That's nice. I know those 2 stops. It's nice to get out.
Yeah, and I've also been stuck there, and you don't feel as crazy as when you're stuck underground. Like, if you're stuck and you can just, like, see the world existing, you're just going, oh, God. It's like being in traffic. You're like, this is fucking annoying.
Right.
But when you're underground, like, the panic can set in.
Well, I think of that all the time. Like if you're driving around New York, you're going to be stopped a lot or slow.
Right.
And they do that with the train the same way. They'll stop it or they'll move slow, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And it all feels like normal. But then if you're in the tunnel and you're stopped and you're driving and you're in the tunnel, you thought, what is there, an attack on the tunnel? Like, you can't stop yourself by thinking, I bet there was an attack up there.
And you're only as good in the group as your first freak out. Because there's someone who always cracks. It's like prison or war. Like, there's always somebody who's going to start screaming. And last week, when I was on the train and it stopped in the tunnel, we were underground for a long time. And eventually, like, I'm looking around and I'm like, someone's going to break. Like, I can feel it because it's been too long. It's been 20 minutes now. People tend to, like, after like a good 10, 15 minutes they get, and this one guy just starts hitting the fucking the window and the door, going, what the fuck is going on? And then I'm like, okay, here we go. And then you start to hear other people farther down the car, like, is this a joke? And you're like, uh-oh, like, we're all packed in here. And one by one, people are starting to lose it. And they're like banging on the door to the conductor. And I'm just like, oh my God.
I try to be the first person who loses it. I try to be the first person before anybody else.
On this F train that was shut down, people were just trying to pry the doors open because they got into a station, but they wouldn't open the doors.
Yeah, I see. I don't even see it as insane if you try to pry the doors open.
Break the glass.
Yeah, in emergency brake class. That's a known fact. We do that in this country. All right, Water Slide Jesus is up there also. And boy, you gotta let him know that we need a fucking
I'm going to make another call today.
What time?
I would say around 3:45.
Okay, 3:45.
Late,
This is
isn't
fucking fixed. It's late. How about 2:45?
Here he is.
Oh, I saw this kid. Why do they call him Jesus, though?
Because he's skimming on water. He never goes underwater. He literally goes from slide to the edge of the pool, completely almost dry.
Okay, so let's say this. What is he doing that no one else is doing?
I'm not.
Why does he get to slide? He's not. Yes, Chris.
Maybe it's genetic. It's like the angle of his ass. Like his ass might be flatter.
That's ridiculous. That might get you an extra foot.
No.
Tops.
There's no way. There's no way. It's just like right exact.
But he's
position.
also asking to break his toes, his heels. What town is this in?
I'm not
that's
sure.
Very tropical looking.
Yeah, it looks.
It doesn't even look like America.
Yeah, I think it was Jamaica at a resort.
Thank you. Now we're on to something. Jamaica.
Okay.
You know?
What is Jamaica?
Break it down. J Moore.
J Moore. Yeah.
All right. J makes. Yeah. J makes you. You know what I mean? That's a forced sexual. That's reluctant, non-consent.
Right.
Sex. Like, would you consider non-consensual sex to be a rape? That's the question.
Yeah.
You say yes, Chris?
No.
That's a rapist.
Why do you?
Why would you think if someone says no and you keep going that's not a rape? That's definitively what a rape is.
That's what a rape is, dude.
What if it's like they're playing a game or something? Like, you know, like they don't actually mean no.
Well, how would you be able to tell that? How do we communicate with each other, right?
Words.
Language, right?
Language.
And the language to you, the communication was no.
Yeah.
No, don't do it. I'm underage. I want you to stop. It hurts.
Yeah.
The underage part was not brought up.
So you'd rather just rape an adult?
I don't want to rape anyone.
So
you just said
do
that
you want to rape, Chris?
You just said no doesn't mean no. What means no to you? Jail sentence?
No, that's not. That's bad.
The jail doesn't even stop you. Shower rape.
I would, if I went to jail, I would
break down shower, okay? SHW, right? Show. Shower. Show your genitals.
Oh.
Intern class 2017. Chris, I'm going to ask you this right off the bat. How good is this class?
This class is the best class I've ever had. This is
their first day.
I know.
Why?
Well,
how do you think that they could beat the Molly years? Who was Molly's other interns? Vito?
Yeah, I believe Molly. It was with Vito for a second.
Vito, he wasn't.
No, I was with Stephanie Castro one semester and Nerese one semester.
Nerese and you that semester where you guys made a movie?
Yeah,
that was unbelievable.
That was a strong semester. I don't know why Chris is just putting me down like this.
Molly was before or after you?
Before and after. So she was the summer before and then summer after.
That's odd.
Who were her intern mates?
Howie.
Don't remember him at all.
Sounds made up.
Big dude who, he was with me at the same time. He had a big beard, tall kid. He was like 35 or something.
No, nobody would be that big and tall and old.
Doesn't sound like an intern
Send
at all.
in the class of 2017. And will you play the music, right? Oh, yeah. Uh-oh.
Hold the rope for me.
Already surprised. Oh, Justin was leading this, and then Spencer beat him at the end. Sit down, class of 2017. Now, we're already hearing early word that you guys could be the greatest intern class of all time. First of all, this is the first time that this is basically an international class.
Yes, it is.
Did you know that?
Actually, I didn't.
Justin is not an American the way you...
Oh, yeah, that I knew.
He is a Canadian, perhaps our biggest enemy.
Our natural enemy.
We're coming for you. When I met him, I considered him as a friend because he recognized me.
Oh, he recognized you from where?
Because I remember he told me that he went to Montreal and he saw you guys, and he once heard me on the air before.
Yes.
And he actually called me and told me who I was, and you know he's a cool guy.
Now, you guys feel like you can get along this summer?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Spencer, let's see that you're holding back a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know what the buddy system is. Have you ever done a thing with a buddy system? You guys are a buddy system right now. But Spencer, of course, is the senior intern. He's got the most
I like that name.
Yeah. Could you actually, even after the show today, take him around, show him 37, what goes on up there? 36.
Okay.
Do we have any other floors?
Just these two. But there's another building.
We got rid of it. We got rid of 14. Is that what you're asking?
We got rid of 14?
19. Yeah, that's no longer part of this building.
Yeah. When I came here, we're no longer on 37. We're mostly on 36.
Yeah. But I hate 37, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Not even bother up there anymore.
Bunch of assholes.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. They're too high up, you know? They're like, hey, we're up on 37. Yeah, well, we're on 36. So what do you think?
You know what's up there? Stevie Island. So that says enough.
Maybe you could also... Stevie Island doesn't even seem like to get along anymore. By the way, are we still doing that Father's Day thing with Disco Dan?
Yes, next week.
Going to be a surprise Father's Day present for me?
Yes, it is. It is a surprise.
Do we know who the comics are?
Yes, we have a list together, and we will. Well, maybe it should be a surprise. Maybe you don't need to go over it at all.
I love to be surprised.
I was going to go over it with you, but
I love
your
surprises.
gift.
Remember your thing last year, cupcakes?
Oh yeah. Because actually, for my birthday weekend, I will not be here.
What?
I do apologize.
Last year we got lobster rolls.
Yeah.
Where are you going to be this year?
My family's taking me away for the weekend.
All right, let's all try to guess where you're going. All right?
Okay.
London?
I've been there, but no.
Tokyo?
Nope.
That's too far.
Too far.
Paris?
Nope.
Vegas.
Oh my God, Vegas, baby?
It's kind of like Vegas, but somewhere warm.
Somewhere warmer than Vegas?
AC?
What?
But it is down south. I'll give you a hint.
Reno?
Is it New Orleans?
Nope. Do you want me to just cut to the chase?
Yes, cut to the chase.
All right,
Come on.
I'm going to Miami.
Oh! Welcome to Miami.
That's my second choice.
Bienvenidos a Miami.
Chris, play the Miami Vice theme, would you? Thanks. Now,
I just went there. I just went to Miami.
And was attacked by a shark.
And I outswam a shark.
Oh, did you?
Are you ready to do that if you go in the water?
I'm actually going to be prepared. Are you sure it wasn't a dolphin?
I'm 100% sure because I did grow up in Florida and I have swam near and around dolphins.
Okay.
I had a dolphin swim right up to me, and it was Larry Zonka, a Miami Dolphin.
Did you get zonked?
Yeah, I did. I got zonked. Now, did you tell him all the cool lunch spots, too? Because he's from Canada. He eats Canadian bacon, Canadian foods.
And only Timmy's.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there's Timmy's around here, though.
Yeah, no, I was really surprised and happy to find it.
Yeah. We never go to Tim Hortons, right?
No.
They love it in Canada.
It's like they're Dunkin' Donuts.
Huh?
It's like they're Dunkin' Donuts. It's everywhere.
But better.
Yeah,
I mean, just because they make the same product doesn't make them, you know. This is a little loud, Chris. Got to bring it down a little bit. I want it just like subtle.
Yeah, it's like part of the fabric of what we're doing.
So that's where you want to go to lunch with him, Tim Hortons?
No, I want to try anything new, man. I'm so new to this city. It is overwhelming.
Is that? Well, yeah, take your time in New York, because New York is an adult portion. You don't want to eat it all. But we got to get you out into some of the comedy clubs too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm excited.
No, you were excited to meet Bill Burr today.
Oh yeah, that was really cool. Like
yeah,
just like telling him that my dad was a hard ass, and like guys like me, young guys, we still have hard ass dads. And yeah, he seemed to appreciate that. He said otherwise he'll turn into a punk.
And Spencer, your dad a hard ass?
He can be a little bit, but you know what? They're smart in a good way.
That's good. Gail, this is for you as part of the disbelief that seems to be going around because a lot of people can't believe your shark story.
I have two witnesses who were both in the water with me. Go on with your question.
Go ahead, Larry.
Hey, Gail, I want to know if there's any type of, do you think there's a connection between the bird flying into your head and the shark attack?
I don't think that there's a connection.
First of all, there's almost a year and a half, 2 years.
I know.
Distance between the two.
It is.
It could be a very slow-moving plot.
I'm telling you, I had 2 witnesses with me. It was, honestly, the single most terrifying thing that has ever happened to me.
You sure it wasn't like a sea turtle, maybe? They have fins.
I know you're an idiot, Chris. You might, you've never seen, and this is an actual quote, a colored bird, he said. So no, I know the difference.
That's racism.
Between a shark and a fucking sea turtle.
Watch your pronouns, man.
You struggle with that.
A little bit. But I think, I'm just saying, the sea turtle, the fins, they could...
Do you know how rare it is to see a fucking sea turtle?
Do you know
swimming around?
what it looks like? Do you know what a sea turtle looks like?
Yeah, it looks like a turtle, and it has fins instead of feet.
Fins.
Yeah, it has a fin on the top of its fucking shell.
And plus, it's not a foot fin. Looks like Trump is struggling with his approval ratings, but he also looks like he's got a new fresh haircut.
Something's going on. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe this is a dry heat there.
Well, here's the thing. His hair is getting closer to being like a green, like where you golf. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very smooth. I kind of want to walk barefoot through it.
It's almost like that Meet the Deedles wave hair that we were discussing.
I wasn't even, Altoid guys? Anybody like an Altoid, intern Altoids?
I'll take one.
Yeah.
I'll pass it down. This is just like a little amuse bouche for me.
We should probably take them out for an intern party sometime.
I would love to do that.
These laced with anything?
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah, the last person I gave this was a Philadelphia news lady.
Let's see if these are.
By the way, how did Spencer pass you in the way in here? You like to be first, Spencer.
Well, I guided him, but I got him in.
Mm-hmm.
But Spencer will also turn around and shut the door, and other people forget to do that. They let the door close himself.
It's very
Spencer
smart.
also physically. Now, today, because you're on the air, it wasn't your day to greet the guests, right? You still like to do that this year?
Yeah, I'm worth doing it.
You to you, is it guest relations? That's your number one thing?
I like to meet other people.
Yeah. Because you're going to stay in the communications business, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm majoring in that.
What is the dream? Where is Spencer Berger 5 years from now? 10 years from now? 25
Everybody
years from
keeps
now?
asking me that
70.
same question.
Yeah.
It's still hard for me to decide, but I definitely want to go to a business where I want to do something like this, but it will take time for me to find. But better.
But you still have interest in booking, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
That's where you shone last year was guest relations.
Mm-hmm.
Now, up to this point, we've had Jen doing it. Kind of a nightmare.
Oh, really?
Totally honest with you.
What has Jen done to the other guests? Because she seems like a chill person.
She's a chill person, but too chill? Because sometimes she doesn't even bring them down the hall. She'll stay in the lobby with them. Oh.
They're just hanging. She's getting digits.
Hanging in the lobby, tagging numbers.
Then they slide into her DMs. I know that's a thing that people do.
Now, he just said tagging numbers. Are you familiar with that, Gail?
Tagging numbers, yeah.
See, I'd never heard that phrase before.
I never heard that either.
All right, if we were playing Passport, okay, here's how we go.
Okay.
Tagging.
On the schoolyard.
Sorry, it's numbers.
Fuck.
Numbers. Tagging numbers. Chris, you're up to this point, you're considered the number one producer in the country, right?
Yes. As of, this morning.
Who do you feel better with a guest with? Is it Jen or Spencer Berger?
I feel that Spencer Berger is the person who should be bringing the guests down the hall.
No, but that's not what we said. Now this is starting to sound misogynistic.
I'm not a misogynist.
Really?
No.
I saw you screaming at Jen one day, and you called her a filthy woman.
What?
I did not say that.
Yeah.
Chris.
I don't call Jen a filthy woman.
And you also told me once you get to be famous, you can grab them anywhere you want. You can grab them by the bleep.
That's what you said?
I didn't say that. I don't want to grab anyone who doesn't want to be grabbed.
Then why'd you say that thing that she's like bleeding out of the you-know-what?
No, here's the other thing. You said, do you want to grab people who want to be grabbed?
Yeah, exactly.
Those are boys, most of them. You're grabbing boys.
I don't grab boys.
Oh, look who's homophobic.
I'm not
Oh,
Shocking.
God.
Hold on.
Do the boys want to be
talking to your attorney right now? Hard Rock Johnny. Johnny?
Yanny.
Let Spencer do it. That's what I was going for. Yanny.
Nice. I was just calling to welcome Spencer Berger back. This is an exciting day as a Bennington fan to have Spencer Berger back.
Thanks, Hard Rock Johnny. I appreciate that.
But why don't you do it prior to Canada? Justin's here too. Let him learn to love him too as well.
I will. We will. We all will.
Can't wait to meet you, dude.
Now,
maybe you could do an intern party here.
Would you like to have us all over for an intern party?
Yes, absolutely.
Table is 500. Is that too much?
Yeah, no, that's plenty. I should be okay with that.
Now, Spencer, are you alarmed by the fact that Justin is a native North American?
I'm not alarmed by that at all.
I thought you were.
No.
I thought you were anti-native people.
I'm not anti-native.
Well, a lot of the towns in Long Island are Indian names, right? Like Massapequa,
Ronkonkoma.
Nobody even told me they sounded Indian. I mean, they sound normal to me.
Now you're saying Indians aren't normal.
Oh, my God.
And that's anti-native.
He takes after Chris.
So Ronkonkoma is Indian, Massapequa is Indian. I don't know what other Long Island names.
Saginaw? I believe
that's Chris.
Don't use that language.
You're making that up. Because you went to the Sagawawa.
Delicious.
Johnny, we're going to have an intern party with you.
And anytime.
All we can eat and all we can drink. Are we allowed to have an intern party? Are we allowed to take them if it's under an official thing? Maybe we'll tape the intern party?
Yeah. It'll be an official intern party.
But I know a lot of times we're not allowed to go outside with them.
I know we're not supposed to socialize.
If I wanted to take the boys to lunch, could I do that?
No, you could not.
What?
Really?
We just said the
But if it's like if we record it, yeah, because if it's for the show.
We never record anything when we go out.
Never recorded a lunch before in our lives.
Are you just trying to follow up on this? By the way, you guys excited about Eddie as he is?
Oh yeah, big time. I'm a big time fan of him.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. Vito, what are you looking around for? It looks like you're trying to be part of this.
There can't be alcohol. That's the only rule, I believe, that there just can't be alcohol around them. They're not allowed to touch alcohol.
Vito, I'm an alcoholic, so I don't, I don't do it myself. When I go over to the Hard Rock, I ask Johnny, drain the bar. Take everything out of there, pour it down the drain, and then I come in.
Now I understand that they can't drink, but what if I need a little drink to unwind myself?
Is that fine?
Oh, in the intro,
the alcoholic's daughter have a little whiskey? Because I think it's a genetic problem.
I've been doing a bit of booze and have ya.
Around the interns, no alcohol. They're not allowed to touch it. They're not allowed to look at it. That's told in orientation.
Weed?
I'm going to guess no, but I don't think they go over that in orientation.
Seems like the kids are in Oxycontin if I'm going to go by
Is that
60
fine?
minutes.
If it's prescribed?
Yes. Mm-hmm. I crush it up and put it in a spoon, cook it, shoot it. And it's really tough getting in, too. It's a little crunch.
Are the interns allowed to shoot up a host if he's already too strung out to do it? So
tie me up. All right, Johnny, Chris is going to get back to you on the dates.
Yes.
Non-alcoholic intern party. Got it.
Yeah,
Yes.
non-alcoholic, but what's your favorite kind of Hard Rock food, boys? What do you like? Because Johnny has a different cheeseburger every day of the month. It's on TV.
Just a good old-fashioned bacon cheeseburger for me.
Usually appetizers, too, as well.
Oh, me too.
Maybe we do an app party.
Oh my God,
Okay.
I would love that.
Wings, nachos, anything.
I like how.
Now, I don't know whether this is crossing a line, but would either one of you interns want to have sex with Jen and Gail at the same time? Or is that something, Vito, is that something we can and cannot?
I don't think that's allowed, so...
No, hold on. It's a three-way.
Yeah, is it fine for that?
Interns are not allowed to have relationships with full-time employees or salaried employees.
Good boy, so I've made some mistakes.
What if you recorded for the show?
Mistakes, I've made a few. All right. All right, Johnny, we're going to get that party together.
Intern party. Later, Bennington.
All right. Peace. Ain't no party like an intern
Intern party, because an intern party don't stop.
I'm starting to feel like this is going to be the best summer we've ever had.
I'm feeling
Now, remember that you were going to get into some big bookings, Jen?
Yes.
You're getting crushed by Roland. Roland is the monster of monsters announcing Eddie Izzard. We've got some other big ones coming up, not announcing yet. Go to the iBang if you'd like to see Eddie Izzard, Town Hall. One of the most brilliant comedians of all time.
Eddie Izzard Town Hall is happening next Wednesday, June 14th at 9 a.m. at the SiriusXM studios in New York City. Go to theinterrobang.com for a chance at free tickets. Everyone attending will get a copy of Eddie's new book, Believe Me, a memoir of love, death, and jazz chickens.
That part seems a little odd.
I saw Jen went up to Roland. She's like, next time we get a little booking like that, whisper in my ear. Make me look like a daydream Johnny.
Yeah. You seem like a daydream Johnny right now. Or Joni, you know, if I'm to be. Hey, you know what the interns have never played? The Bennington Barometer. Vita, we ready to play Bennington Barometer, the greatest game show of all time?
It's the best game show there is.
Yes, we are.
Do you got something new, or you want to run one of the early things?
I have something brand new for you guys. Sent to us by someone special.
I walk 47 miles of barbed wire.
Hi, this is Bob Fonseca. I've gone bowling with Scottie Pippen and Forrest Grant. I've talked to Willie on Willie's bus. Van Halen, Robbie Robertson, Quentin Tarantino. Yeah, I partied with them all. You know, I've met a lot of celebrities, but nothing could have prepared me for the night that I met Ron Bennington. That was the night I created the greatest game show in the history of radio, the Bennington Barometer. So you think you know Ron Bennington? Get a grip. He's an American badass. And you? Well, you're just you. No offense. So let's join Ron, Gail, Chris, Rito, Jen. Let's play another round of the Bennington Barometer.
Bob, thank you very much. And Ronnie Hawkins, thank you very much as well. Well, that's got to be the best yet.
So exciting.
Yeah, that was exciting.
Mr. Fonseca himself.
Yeah, the man who invented the greatest game show of all time. Now, the way this works, Spencer, is you just have to guess what you think I would guess. It's that simple.
Okay.
Right. It's A or B.
So this is going to be two scenarios of things he likes, but he has to pick his favorite thing.
It's a Sophie's choice, if you will.
It is a Sophie's choice.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a Bennington Barometer.
Bennington Barometer.
Bennington Barometer.
All right, I'm going to throw out the first barometer.
Oh, good.
All right. Bennington Barometer.
Bennington Barometer.
Bennington Barometer.
Chrissy Hines.
Oh, boy.
Or Patti Smith. These are two rock goddesses. It's Chrissy Hines.
Both have been guests on this show.
A, Chrissy Hines. B, Patti Smith.
I love them both. I'm going to have to take everybody back to a summer of 1979, when I completely fell in love with a girl that I couldn't have. Miss Chrissy Hine. Wow. Love Patti Smith, but love Chrissy Hine.
I picked Patti. And I'm shocked, and I know you love
Who
Chrissy.
did you pick, Spencer? Chrissy Hine?
Yeah, Chrissy Hine.
Chris?
I had Patti Smith.
Jen?
Patti Smith.
All right, nobody but Spencer Berger.
Wow.
Spencer.
What?
Starting out strong. You got the first one right.
Oh my goodness me.
I like that as a new kind of saying, oh my goodness me.
I have a Bennington Barometer.
Who cares? Okay. Now, do you go to UConn?
Yes,
UConn?
I do.
Good basketball school.
Oh, this year, men's team was off, but women's, we clocked it. It would have been better if we had no losses and won the entire NCAA women's team.
What happened in the last game of the year?
I was actually in the library getting work done, but I got a few highlights. It was just a bad loss. I think it was a tie, and they lost by a buzzer beater.
3 overtimes.
Yeah.
3 overtimes. And then they finally lose.
Yeah.
It was like seeing Jesus lose.
Oh my God. Everybody was disappointed.
Mm. You've had a rough year of upsets against you.
Yeah, I have. But you know what? Upsets can turn out to be they can end up being happy as well.
That's great. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
I like to say upsets, not offsets. Chris, do you want to do your thing?
The Bennington Barometer.
The what?
The Bennington Barometer. David Lynch or Terrence Malick?
Aren't you supposed to be hard?
Yes.
Did you make it hard?
I felt I made it hard.
Only one of these people have done the show. But David Lynch drives me too crazy. I'm picking the great Terrence Malick. That makes me feel peaceful. Who had,
I had Terrence Malick.
Terrence Malick? Yeah, Terrence Malick for Spencer.
Yes.
Chris?
I went Lynch.
Everyone went.
That reminds me too much of Lynch Elementary.
I'm going to note that for next time.
Let's do one more. Anybody else got one?
I have one.
Oh! Jen, this is your first Bennington Barometer.
Second.
Second?
She was like, give me the credit for that first Bennington Barometer.
First one today is World Cup or the Olympics?
Oh, that's really good.
God, it's like a multiple choice question on an exam.
Yes.
You know,
it is.
That would be a hard Bennington Barometer for me.
Oh my God.
Because I love both of those so much.
Me too.
Oh man, I feel like now I'm back in school again.
Yeah.
But let's figure this out.
Yeah.
Well, so the game is
with Jen, it's like we have a sub today, though, right? Submissive. You know what I'm saying?
Not cold sub, you know.
See what we're saying?
Yeah.
Submissive.
Submissive.
I have to go back to ancient Greece with this one, and I'm going to pick the Olympics. The Olympics.
I World Cup.
Spencer?
Olympics.
Olympics, I decided.
By the way, let's point this out. You picked World Cup?
Olympics.
Okay. Spencer went 3 for 3 today.
He's very good at this game.
Senior intern.
Oh man, I wasn't expecting this.
Well,
it's like I have a super brain or something.
It is like you have a super brain.
I've always thought that about you.
Super brain, we have a crime you need to solve, super brain.
Hey, that should be a cartoon show. Super brain.
Well, you know, we have Bill Burr here, and he's got his own cartoon show, F is for Family. Have you seen it yet?
I have not seen it.
Are you familiar with Bill's work?
Not a lot, but I'm going to look it up later.
Smart. Hey, Renee, what's up?
Hey, I got one. How about Jim Morrison, Axl Rose? Jim Morrison, not Morrison.
No, I understand who you mean. But let me say this to you, Renee. Just walk away, Renee. You won't see me follow you back home. This is not close for me, as you can imagine. I'm always with the Lizard King. I ride the snake. I ride the ancient snake.
To the lake.
Yeah, I take the blue bus because it's calling us. Jim Morrison, ladies and gentlemen. Axl?
Yes.
I had Axl.
Why would you take Axl? I would take Axl Foley over Axl Rose. Do you understand it? How come you're not playing Axl's theme? By the way, you're going to say something really good. I mean, now that Chris Stanley is the #1 producer in the history of Sirius XM, and you got a court date coming up, my friend.
Yes, I do.
And Chris told me if something did not go his way, what did you say that you were going to do?
I said I was going to freak the fuck out and be held. I will be held in contempt and get arrested.
I said to him, do not get held in contempt. Do not get arrested. Have a plan beforehand. And that's the first time that you thought I might be able to have a plan.
I actually watched his brow furrow when you said that.
I know.
Plan.
I feel like I'm good at chilling him out.
Yeah.
He's good at exploding, but I'm like, when I always say to him, Chris, there's other things to do besides explode.
Odd. I was kind of looking forward to the freak out. Part of me felt.
Now, is this called Axl F's theme, or what is this called?
This is called Axl Foley Original Disco 80s.
That doesn't make sense.
Is that like the first Crazy Frog or something?
You dumb
You are
fuck.
back, dude. Spencer is back in a big, big way.
Well, I try.
Justin, we had an idea for a bit for you right before the show today.
Mm-hmm.
Gail, explain what it's called.
It's called This Just In.
And what would happen?
It's going to be breaking news that is breaking while we're on the air.
Mm-hmm.
Something that has just happened. Breaking news. This
Well,
just
if
in.
you look at MSNBC right now, they have breaking news. Even though it's the same exact news that's on the other two channels, they call it breaking. All right, now CNN has now called it breaking, and Fox is not. It's all about Comey, though.
Right.
Comey looks too close to comedy for me.
Oh, comedy news.
Yeah. Now, what if it's this Justin, and we find out that it's Justin's penis? And it's Justin.
Again?
What do you mean again? He already did it for
If he kept taking his dick out.
No, put it in is what
Put
just
it
in,
It's
not
just
out.
in.
Got it.
Your thing would be just out. What's the date that you need off?
July 18th.
That's the day I need you in here.
I have to take that day.
What day
You
of the
shall
week
be
is it?
fired.
That is a Tuesday.
Two for Tuesday? You're going to miss 2 for Tuesday.
That's the day that we do things twice.
I have to see a judge at 11 a.m. Now, if things go well, I will be here. If I can.
With you believe $500,000.
I just, there's also a chance that nothing happens, and then
That's why he told me that he would freak out. They give him nothing.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, this court case started when I first knew Chris. His mom was blown up in the city by a hot pipe.
A steam pipe exploded around 42nd Street on the east side.
No, it was in Alden. I can't believe it's 10 years.
Yeah.
This court date is 10 years to the day it happened.
Now, so it was down near the train station, right?
At Grand Central.
It blows up. And I see it on TV. And they're like, oh, X amount of people were hurt in this thing. And one of them was Chris's mom, and I'm watching it on TV. And I just saw one lady, she was holding her leg. Her leg was broken.
Both legs.
Both legs were broken. And she's screaming, Christopher! Christopher! So,
she did
called out to you.
She did call me from the back of the ambulance. Christopher, there was an accident. Like, what?
It's so scary.
Oh, my God.
So, at one point, you were promised, was it $500,000?
There were a lot of numbers were getting thrown around early on.
Let's suppose, what would you be willing to settle for? Now remember, 0 is the lowest.
We're actually going to charge you for coming in today.
But now they said there's a possibility it could be thrown out.
Yeah,
that made you go crazy.
That made, when I had my meeting with the lawyer, I fucking lost it then.
Okay.
And
you were aggressive with him?
With the
Verbally
lawyer.
aggressive?
Yes. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? This thing get fucking thrown out.
Just relax.
You know what it sounds like when you freak out.
It's not good. It's not good. What amount could they come in today and say, we'll give you this much if you walk away?
For her pain and suffering?
Write down a figure for me.
Like, if it's below this, I will be held in contempt.
This will be the most minimum that you're about her pain and suffering, not your own.
No, not mine.
That's why yours could get thrown out.
Exactly. If it's below this, I will have serious problems with the city of New York.
Now,
and I even think that's I'm lowballing myself.
But you got $185 written here. I thought this last one was a 0, but it's a K.
That's a K. Yeah.
Well, you got to be careful if you're writing down. See how that looks like? It's a 0 that got cut off.
I agree.
I think that's way more than you could ever expect. By the way, this figure that you put down, which is riches to you, I bet you run through that in, I'll say 10 to 12 days. I guarantee you, if you get the kind of money you want, he's going to be drunk for 2 months, and you're going to have a gold rope chain.
You bet your ass I will.
Chris Stanley going to be like, blang, 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 blang.
What do you guys want, huh? Just fucking throwing cash.
No, honestly, if you got that number, what would be the first thing top of your mind that you would do with this money?
I'll probably throw a party or something. I don't know.
For your mother's honor?
Yeah, my mother's honor. Yeah. Why not?
What about establishing a future for yourself?
Did you think?
I got to worry about now, Ron.
No.
But a big blowout is not necessary.
But here's the thing. I know.
For Amy, it is.
A friend of mine years ago was on an airplane that hit another airplane while it was on the ground, though.
On the tarmac?
Yeah, it was tarmacking around. It hit another airplane. He opened up the emergency window, ran out on the wing, fell off the ring onto his ass.
Oh my God. Do you happen to know if one of the engines were running?
Yes, there was an engine running. He ran over top of it, slipped off, fell down, landed on his ass bone.
Oh.
That money that they gave him, which was a lump sum, was gone by the end of the summer.
Oh, shit.
It was more than you had there.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And I don't want to say his name. I'll just give you his initials. Mitchell Walters. And that story to me, I don't know why, just the thought of someone getting a fat check and living like it was like that Richard Pryor movie where you had to spend all the money.
Yeah, versus Millions.
Yeah, like he got a Brewster's Millions deal. No, he had every right to go buy a home or whatever. He was driving around in the Batmobile, throwing fucking coke off of 2 prostitutes.
But yeah, I'd probably go off the. If I look, when he said it might get thrown out, I immediately thought, well, it's going to get thrown out. I just went to like, well, there's no other ways.
Like you just heard, we're throwing this case out
now.
And the reason was because it didn't happen to you.
No.
She was still alive.
No, want another fucking reasoning?
Yeah.
This has also made me freak out because, as he put it, the company that it was responsible for the pipe, they said, why should they be responsible for someone getting trampled? How could they ever tell if there was a giant explosion? Why would people run away? So why should they?
So they're saying
I know.
that they are not responsible for people's reaction to something that caused mass panic. They're saying people could do anything, and that has nothing to do with us.
This is why the reason this is why people tend to hate lawyers.
Yeah,
because this is a dishonest thing that they're saying.
It's bullshit.
I mean, we saw just what happened when those explosions happened. In Manchester, people were trampled.
Horrific.
People were, yes, it was. It was horrific. But people do tend to act the same way when an emergency, and that's a panicked run.
Right. And and your company is the cause of mass panic.
Right.
Like having an explosion caused that. It doesn't matter if it was that she was hurt from
People are pushing and people are shoving. Like, remember that band One Direction?
Yeah.
They were big like 3 years ago.
I think they're still big today.
Okay, they're still big today, but 3 years ago they were peaking probably. So they were at a restaurant over here, and a bunch of kids were standing outside, and then you saw One Direction there. As I was pushing these children down to get closer to them, some of the children chipped their teeth. One of them got their eyes stuck on a sharp fence.
Oh, God.
And you know what I was yelling the whole time?
What was that?
Look at me, 1D, look at me. But that's because I'm a what? Fan. And fan is short for?
Fanatic.
And I acted like a?
Fanatic.
Thank you. So, Your Honor, the defense rests. But you see why people hate lawyers?
Yeah.
Your mom had pain and suffering from this.
For literally her last days alive were spent in pain and suffering.
Did I tell you something?
What's that?
I believe it accelerated her cancer. Yeah. Because the body is trying to heal other parts.
Yes, and that, she was not able to fight as hard. It's so fucked up that we're having this conversation. It's making me really mad.
Look, I know.
Chris's mother, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Chris's mother already suffering depression from having Chris as a child.
Isn't that enough?
There was a brief vacation when she could heal in the hospital and not look at him.
The shame was too much.
Yes, the shame was too much.
And for all that suffering, let's get some cash out there, you scumbags. Just the reasoning behind.
Chris, would you accept $600 right now? Cash. Tax-free cash.
No, I'm not taking the $600.
Once.
No.
Twice.
No.
And it's
good,
because it'll be gone forever.
Can I right now? I'll get
yes.
it right now. Yeah, okay.
Okay, $600. Man, I got that down far.
Just want to say it's going away forever, then that's fucked.
Now, if it's just a little bit less than the number that you said that you would freak out if it was less than this. Let's say it's a little bit less. Let's even say, and it's half. A big number, let's say it's half.
Take it.
What is your reaction to this?
I'd have to what's it?
We're still going to have that party.
You easily could still throw the party.
What's it when you have to
What band would you hire for that party? If you got, let's suppose you got the full effect of what you want.
Oh man. Maybe I'll try to get the Pixies to come. Fuck, I'll throw them some cash.
I don't know.
And I'd make them bring Kim too.
Okay,
You can't force them.
You guys want this check or not?
I think that you're about now half of what it would take for that to happen.
I know.
You're going to end up blowing. You're going to end up
own one party.
so much money.
I'm in debt.
And then have the Pixies mad at us. Your Pixies is your number one band?
All right, could just get Jack White to come. But he has a big band. That might be expensive. Maybe you can do an acoustic set for us.
If someone's doing acoustic at that party, I'm probably just going to talk right through it.
Come on, Jack White's playing.
Chris, I'm macking this chick right now. It's your thing. Do what you want to do.
I have to discuss with my lawyer if they offer less before the fucking...
Why don't you, in honor of Bill Burr's new show, go out of your way to do a prog rock?
You get Yes to come?
You got to be careful because the Yes isn't the people that
Yeah.
I consider to be in Yes.
Other
the people
Yes.
traveling is Yes or other Yes.
Yeah, other Yes.
I don't want other Yes. I want the...
Well, no, I mean the Yes that came in here. They came on.
They weren't Yes. They can't technically call themselves...
Yeah, they're not
Yes.
allowed.
That's Rick Wakeman.
That's an evening of Yes's music, I believe is what they call it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we can
That's
have
what you would want. An evening of Yes's music.
I'm trying to put together a tour now that I call Half Beatles. And it's just half the Beatles. But they can't have any other instruments, so everything is just bass and drums. Today I want you to pull the plug on our offer.
Okay. Done.
The offer is pulled.
Done.
And then you let them know that a radio war has started. One that I hope will go on for generations. Generations and generations to come.
Done.
What do we got tomorrow? Gaffigan?
Tomorrow is Gaffigan, yes.
Are we playing that tomorrow?
Tomorrow, no, we're playing Joan Rivers of Life and Comedy. At 2 o'clock. A little bit before 2.
Wow. That one is actually very good.
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear it. I met her when I was like 14.
Really?
Yeah, very briefly. It was back when I was a gopher for Just for Laughs.
Mm-hmm.
Usually I have to slip memos under, the comedians' doors and stuff, but she actually answered the door. And yeah, she was all, demure the way she was. She's just like, yeah, thank you, sweetheart. I'll be sure to read this right now. And that was it.
I think I bring up from that Louis thing that people don't realize that, but there was always a sexual tension around Joan.
Yeah, well, she seems like a very sexual person. Like she has, but she's powerful about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. Maybe powerful women like to, give in a little bit, like they say powerful men do. Like Chris, you like to be duct taped, right?
Just my nipples. I like just the nipples duct taped.
That's odd.
I thought cheeks together.
So he can't poop.
And then it goes back up in.
All right, Jim Comey just said, Comey, I thought I was doing comedy tomorrow. I wanted to come in and do 15, 20 minutes.
This isn't funny at all.
It looks like Trump just kissed him then. Comey's 6'8".
Yeah.
I don't even think I know anybody 6'8".
I know one person who is taller than that. One person. My friend Cameron, who came into the studio.
He doesn't seem 6'8".
He's 6'10".
Really?
Yeah.
And he never even played basketball, right?
Nope. Mm-mm.
If I knew somebody is 6'10" and they didn't play basketball, I'd shoot him in the ankle.
He gets that a lot. He gets it a lot.
6'10", you should be able to just do a Luke Longley thing. Where you're just out there.
Windmilling.
Who's the tallest quarterback? That's like 6'6" now, right?
I think Matt Ryan might be. He's like
taller
6'6".
than 6'6"?
I think he's 6'6". Now Cam Newton's really tall. He might be around 6'5", 6'6".
Cam Newton is 10'6". I just looked up. He's 10 feet, 6 inches.
Freak. Really tall.
Dude, you don't say that.
How tall is Tom Brady?
Tom Brady's 5'7".
Oh, I thought he was taller than that.
No, he's a little one. But he always wears platform shoes. Now, Tom Brady's got to be about 6'4", 6'5"?
Yeah, right there.
What do you mean right there?
6'4", 6'5".
That's not right there. It's two different things.
6'4". 225.
He's keeping his weight down, though, for somebody 6'4". That's good.
Ripped.
His wife, Giselle, 6'7".
Yeah, she's huge.
I saw her just open up a beer can with her bare hands. Just threw her off the top of it. She goes like this, here you go. What is she, Brazilian?
She is, yeah.
Hey, here's one for you, Bennington Brahmer.
Okay.
Brazil or Argentina?
I'm going to go, and this is really tough, but I'm going to go Brazil.
Over Argentina?
Yeah, I think I am.
Chris?
Argentina.
Really? I thought of you more as a Brazilian because of your love of ass.
I do love ass.
And mosquitoes. That's your two favorite things.
And favelas.
Let's go to a person that's 1/3 everything. Our own Jen.
Brazil.
Really?
Yeah, they have like the most beautiful women, I think.
Yeah.
Well, they have the most beautiful women's asses. Hey, did you guys watch Jim Jeffries last night?
I didn't. I don't have cable.
So he told this story that I wasn't even sure of about Sweden. That he said up till 1975, this is when they finally stopped, Sweden would come around, and if you had a kid who had some kind of genetic problems, whether it was dwarfism, whatever, that they would come in and sterilize that child. They would sterilize them. And they didn't stop this to the 70s. Now, just to point this out, Happy Days was on TV when they were doing this. I mean, I couldn't believe it. Then he goes like this, you can't argue with success. And he just shows all these beautiful Swedish people standing together. But isn't that mind-blowing?
That is so creepy.
Now, you told me something the other day that surprised me. You say that we're very close to making sure that no one is deaf anymore because they put these things...
Yes, it's the cochlear implant, and
they will do it to an infant.
Yes, they'll do it to an infant or to kids, and so it's really cut down the amount of young deaf people.
And they think we'll get to the point where we eradicate deafness,
right?
Which is mind blowing.
And so the interesting thing is, and there's a documentary on this, and a controversy.
Documentary or a rockumentary?
I would call it a rockumentary, I guess.
Interesting. I didn't know there was music.
That they, a lot of the people who are deaf are upset about it because they feel like they have a culture, they have a language. The young people who are born who have this, then, oftentimes they can't communicate with people in their same families who are deaf, and they feel like their culture is dying out. They are proud and they're comfortable.
I never thought of it that way.
Yes,
they have their own language. They have their own...
And there are, a lot of these people, of course you've seen videos online, people who are adults who get the implant and it's the first time that they hear it and they cry. There are people who can have this and they choose not to because they're like, no, this is how I'm born. I'm comfortable the way I am.
Well, we have nothing. Imagine that you could just add another sense.
Yes.
I don't know what it means. I guess we would be able to read people's minds.
Yeah, that was probably the closest you could imagine.
I wouldn't want to do it because Chris is here, and if I could read what he was thinking, I would
You'd have to turn him in.
Yeah, I'd have to report him.
No, I don't think about...
You're undressing people with your eyes.
No, I'm not. Keep everyone's close.
So what they're saying is let's keep deaf people going.
Yeah, that they're saying that this is just a way to be. It's just another type of person, and it is a language, and to them it's upsetting the idea to lose American Sign Language or wherever.
What do you think of this, Justin?
Brad Williams had a great bit about this and how politically incorrect sign language actually is. Because he did comedy with for ASL people, and every single thing to describe midget and black people is just horrible. It's just the worst thing. Yeah, you gotta look it up, or if we have him in, we gotta have him talk about it because it's fucking funny.
Well, as far as eradicating, the only thing I was, and Justin and I disagree, but I wanted to eradicate the Native Americans. And
you came close.
Close as we could.
Why'd you stop?
Well, most of it was done with blankets. They think it was done with bullets, but blankets was a big part of it.
Yeah.
But do you see that as being a community or an affliction, deafness?
Affliction.
Affliction, so you would have no problem eradicating it.
Yeah. I mean, I have asthma. I would love to fucking eradicate that. I don't think of that as a community.
But you don't communicate with other people.
Yeah, that's true.
With asthma and have a culture.
The amount of I think we now call it special needs, that were around when I was younger compared to now is night and day.
Much smaller amount now.
Much smaller, because I guess they do things in utero, blah, blah, blah. So I have seen that, but it's very strange to think that you would not have deaf people anymore.
Yeah, and also it's interesting you brought that up, because there's kind of a comparison too of little people also have their own culture and communities, and when they gather together, it's a very big deal for them, because then they have this sameness with someone. So for deaf people, they're saying you're taking away this connection, this new generation of people who are like us, who get by in the world.
But you got to figure in the future, right? Yep. Particularly when we start to fool around with genetics, right? They're not going to leave it where these kids have a possibility of being fat, too short, too tall, baldness, whatever it happens to be. Stuff that we think of as life, that stuff will be gone, and we will all look like Swedish people, and we'll finally be happy.
I mean, I'll be honest, I would have never been chosen with this height.
No.
I'd be like, oh no, that's much too short.
Right.
She won't be able to reach anything.
But isn't it what kind of makes humans, right? That we're not all exactly the same. We're not all Gattaca. It's a very, very odd thing, and one that people are going to be forced to look at.
Yeah.
We're just going to have just blue-eyed people, because a long time ago we thought blue eyes were beautiful because it was a rare thing to have.
Sure. And also too with the deaf thing is that then a parent who is deaf, who is born with a child who is deaf, wants to have that connection with their child, wants their child to be able to communicate and teach them the way they know, but they also don't want to take something away from their child. So they have to sit there and go, what is more important, my connection to my child, my culture, or that to make my child have every opportunity to be the same as everyone else?
I had a friend who had 2 deaf parents. Which is, how did she learn how to talk? She had to have other people in the family helping her with that.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Isn't it fascinating?
It's really crazy.
Because there was so many things that they couldn't teach her. But see, deafness, when I was younger, I started a label called Def Jam Records.
That was you?
Me and another guy.
Oh, okay.
Me and another dude. And, it didn't work. Because there was already a Def Jam label. And instead of going with hip hop, we went with prog rock. We used to try to we were looking for the next Rush. And people didn't even want this Rush, which was something for us to learn from. All right, let's go to Jen. Jen, what would you change about yourself?
My nose. I hate my nose.
What would you do with it?
I want it straighter. I want it like a nice straight nose bridge. I have a flat, bridge.
Oh my God, you're crazy.
Yours is adorable. You look just like Joe Frazier. So you would change the nose.
Yeah, that's what I want to do.
Yeah. What else?
I want teeth. I want new teeth. I want veneers.
Yeah. What's that cost you?
It's like $1,500, I think. Depends where you go. Might be more. I think that's
By the way, have you seen those things that they're selling on? Yeah. Did you see the thing that they're selling on TV now, late night TV, where they just their teeth, and they're like, you put them in hot water, and then you bite on them, so it fits over like the old mouth guard when you were a kid and played football, and you just wear these fake teeth around. That's like $20. I was cracking up.
I don't want those. That sounds terrible.
All right, Janice, what's up?
Hi, Ronnie.
Yeah.
My pastor who just retired, he has a deaf congregation and does all his sermons in sign language.
As loud as he can. Now, one of the One time I was out and I saw this couple, a deaf couple, and they were so pissed at each other, and it was so fascinating to watch. I've seen that too, deaf people fighting.
Quiet.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And I always go like this. I'll walk over the table and I'll go, keep it down. We're trying to eat over here.
You want to know something really fascinating? I saw a group of deaf people, or a group of friends, and they were all talking, and there was one person who was kind of holding court, and, like, obviously he was being, like, really funny, and, like, everyone, and I watched them, and he said something that killed, and they all laughed with no sound. They all went like this, and they were, like, grabbing their chest and, like, holding their stomachs.
Laughing.
And I was like, oh my God, that's so weird. Cause I'm like, are they laughing? It's just.
No, I did comedy in a deaf club before, and I'm like, I'm dying up here. And then later, I was like, we really enjoyed it. I go, well, then tell. Now, see, I think this would be the worst thing about being deaf, and I've never heard anybody talk about this. Maybe they have. I'm sure people have. But how do you know that you've just slipped a fart out, or whether you just blasted one? Like, you might be thinking, oh, jeez, it just slipped that out. Sound. And everybody's looking at you. And you're like, man, they must have really good ears. Isn't that weird when you think about it?
It's so I gotta say, I've never thought about it.
Yeah.
I went to college with a guy who was I went to college with a guy who was blind, and I have this friend who, she's kind of an idiot, and I introduced them. She came walking up, and we were outside, he and I smoking a cigarette, and I introduced them, and she was like, and I know sign language.
And to a blind person.
And he goes, okay. And she's like, so, and he was like, I can't see what you're doing. I'm not deaf. I'm blind. But I didn't say, like, here's my blind friend. Like, he's standing there, he has a cane, his eyes are, very clearly he's a blind person. And she said, oh, and by the way, I know sign language.
I would have gotten a brick and beat her until she was dead.
I mean, I was so mortified. She would say something so stupid.
I don't know this woman.
I know a woman years ago, and she did sign language, and she had a job that she would go to court and explain to why the deaf people what the judge was saying to them, because I'm like, oh, the deaf people get in trouble? She goes, all the fucking time.
Really?
She goes, young deaf guys are just ready to fucking rock and roll. They have to.
Right.
Yeah, young deaf guys were ready to throw down. Like, I guess they got insulted or teased or whatever.
Right.
And it was just like, fuck this.
Right.
Yeah. And if I actually had trouble with a deaf guy, I go, didn't you hear? I said a lot of nice things about you. But I just don't know sign language. And then I would say, by the way, you just farted really loud. And they probably thought you were slipping it out, but no. It was a full fucking shuddering blast. All right, thanks, darling.
Okay, love you.
Bye, Janice.
There goes Janice, back to Chicago.
Sweet Janice.
Would you rather be deaf or live in Chicago?
Ooh.
What sounds worse, Chicago during the winter or Chicago during the summer? Huh. They both sound horrific. I remember that there used to be, every time there would be like a hot thing, what do you call that, like a heat wave?
Wave, yes.
Yeah. In Chicago, you would hear 20 people died today in Chicago because they used to not have air conditioning, and the old people, the old buildings, they would have painted the windows shut so that you could never open them.
Oh my God.
But then you get the thunderstorms because that's when a cold front moves in.
That is true. So it's like the heat meets with the cold, thunderstorms.
Yeah, the cold follows the heat.
Yeah. Dude, you can find yourself doing weather. Does that ever interest you at all? Being a weatherman?
I used to be, but I didn't like that idea.
Why?
I don't know.
What is your favorite kind of weather system?
Well, usually I watch the local news with, Chris Cimino, Janice Huff.
That's good stuff.
Good stuff. Yeah.
Good stuff with Huff.
She's huffing it out there.
I would always, every night, I would say one prayer when I was little, and it would always be the same prayer. Please let 100 tornadoes hit here. Because I always wanted to see what that looked like.
God, I wanted to see a tornado so bad as a kid.
If I were to see a tornado at my house, I would be sketched out.
Sketched out? That's wonky.
Because it is wonky. I know that's the only wonky thing I have.
Yeah.
So, because you have to go to the basement, you would have no power. knock on wood, there could be damage.
Mm-hmm.
But if you were in an open field, then I would be okay with it. But just when you're home, it's different.
Well, did you see this picture? It's up on the iBank tornado picture from the other day. I believe this is in your home nation of Canada.
The Alberta man.
Yeah. Alberta man is their version of Florida man.
Very
that or
cool.
Quebec man.
Yeah. Chris, what are you waiting for?
It's coming.
Ew.
Oh, it sounds like it's
really gross.
It's coming. So there's the guy. He's mowing his lawn as there's a giant tornado right behind him, and he's still mowing the lawn.
Zero fucks given.
That can wait, dude.
By the way, I have seen tornadoes and never one that size. Like, I've seen smaller tornadoes and water spouts down in Florida.
The only thing I've ever seen is a water spout, and that was like pretty close to seeing a tornado. It was very small considering, but it was so exciting to me.
Have you ever seen like a tiny tornado that isn't even like officially a tornado?
There's just like leaves in it.
Well, one time we were playing baseball, and this thing just comes across the infield and stops at the shortstops, and he's in the middle of it, and then moved on. And no one helped or did anything. And the kid was just like, ah! in this little wind tunnel, I guess. It's not a tornado.
Yeah.
It was so small. But he was just like screaming and moving in it. And then it just moved past him. No one even ran over to help him.
That's why I never play shortstop.
Well,
Dangerous.
It is a dangerous game. But what are you going to do, right, Chrissy?
You can't do anything.
Thank you, buddy.
The ideas of town halls happening.
I'm having a conversation with you. You can't do anything. As he is in town hall. God, plug whatever you need to plug. God forbid I should have a conversation with you.
He was trying to connect with you.
Yeah. It was two fellas having a conversation.
That's Wednesday, June 14th at 9 a.m. at the SiriusXM studios here in New York City. Go to theinterrobang.com for a chance at free tickets, and everyone attending the town hall gets a copy of Eddie's new book, Believe Me, a memoir of love, death, and jazz chickens.
And I'm going to be out Friday and Saturday night at the Stand this weekend. At the Stand Friday and Saturday night in New York City. I don't know who's on those shows with me, but I expect it to be good.
I heard that you had some fucking killer sets over last weekend.
I wouldn't say that, Gail.
Well,
I mean, that's for them. For them, it's probably killer. For me, it's still below the level.
People tweeted to me and said,
"What people? Liars?"
I don't know. People tweet to me.
Ask Vito if he could wake up for a second.
They sent me all your clippings.
That's odd. What, Chris, you going to read?
On Friday's show at the Stand, Chris Stefano, Jim Florentine, Yamanika Saunders, Ron Bennington, Sean Patton, Monroe Martin, and more.
Nice.
Jesus Christ, that's a good show.
I love all those people.
Saturday, same people?
Saturday, Bonnie McFarlane, Pete Lee,
Love,
Sean Patton, Ron Bennington, Chris Stefano, and Derek Gaines, and more.
Nice.
Wow.
2 great shows.
2 great shows, 2 great prices.
Actually, we need to break one more time for the end of the show. We stay quick.
Bennington show. Just getting ready to wrap this one. Bill Burr was by today, and I think he's going to be just about everywhere in this building. You ought to keep saying, if you can't keep following around to see Bill talking about season 2 of F is for Family. That's available now on Netflix.
And they play his entrance music wherever he goes.
Yeah. Wherever he goes, he gets entrance music. But, yeah, I think he started with Jimmy, maybe even did Howard before that this morning. And he's zooming around trying to do as many of this. It would be interesting to know whoever came in here and got on the most stations in one day.
Yeah, just like from start, like all the way through morning through the night shows.
And what's always interesting, too, is when you find out which performer is wanted by everybody, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's say if Paul McCartney came here, you wouldn't have to do anything that had to do with music or anything to want Paul McCartney on your show.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's probably like the highest of the high, Paul McCartney. And then you figure out what level do you have to be before every radio station on Sirius XM would say yes to you.
Yeah, and like how many and those stations who have such different guests. Like if you were to line that guest up with the rest of the people that they would have on their show,
right,
it would be like totally and completely different. Like I love walking down the hall and seeing everybody freaking out about a guest that I have no idea who this person is and why they are at the top of their game.
But if you look, like, I'd say everybody would want, let's say, Joe Montana.
Right.
Joe Montana, every station would be like, yeah, we'd love to have Joe Montana come in. But how many people fed in to that? You know, would it be a Bill Clinton?
Yes.
Like even if you did a right-wing show, you'd still want Bill Clinton to come in. He's a former president.
I think also if you have the kind of personality that you don't do much press too, like somebody like a Robert De Niro who like doesn't do interviews and doesn't do
They'd
that.
be wanted everywhere.
100% across
David
the board.
Letterman would be wanted everywhere.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of people who are very popular in their field where people would go, that's great for them, but we don't want them over here. Let's say, there's a lot of people who don't even want heavy metal guys on their station even though they play music. They're like,
right.
You'd be better off in liquid metal.
Right. That's not really our scene. Yeah. Or like, you know, kind of like pop stars and even actors and actresses that have pop celebrity. Like those are the kind that it's like, they might be big at this moment.
Kim Kardashian.
Right. Like, but it might not be big enough for someone to break format over. You know what I mean? Like, it's not big enough that you go, hey, we don't normally have music guests, but this guy's so big that we do that.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be like if you were offered One Direction in their prime, would you have taken One Direction?
No.
Right.
Because it would have just been awkward.
Right. And you would have known that this is something that's like a passing phase where you're like 2 years from now, it's going to seem really weird that we had all One Direction and we were talking about their new album.
Somebody reminded me that we had a boy band on in the 90s that went on to become big, and I didn't realize it at the time. And I remember people that I turned down, like somebody, well, I had a guest on, and she's like, hey, our opening act is here. It's Marilyn Manson. And they're in the lobby. Do you want them to come down? We're like, no, we'll talk to you. I don't want you mean the weird guys with the lunch boxes? No, we don't want them. Just you. So I've done that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Plenty of times. I remember I was doing a comedy show in the 90s, and they called up and said, would you take Hootie and the Blowfish on the show? And I'm like, no, it's a comedy show. And at the same time, they offered another band, and it was the band that everybody would know this fucking song, but they had just a giant, big harmonica playing singer, and they were like,
Blues Traveler.
All right, Blues Traveler. So they were like, for $10,000, you can have each of these bands. And we're like, no, we're doing a straight comedy show. And then they called back, and then finally they said, for free, you can have Hootie and the Blowfish and Blues Travel. And I go, and so Jeff Appeloff, who was producing the show, he's now a big TV game show producer. He goes, we can get both these bands for free. And I remember saying to him, yeah, but then we have to have fucking drums on stage and all that. And it's going to get in the comics way. The answer is no. For free is still too much money. And like 6 months later, both those guys were platinum. But at that time, no.
Right.
We don't want that.
Of course not. By the way, that Blues Traveler song, what is it? The Run Around? I want to give me the run around. Yeah. At the time, it was like one of those pop songs. You're like, this is pretty annoying. But boy, does it age well. Like when I hear it, I'm fucking psyched to hear that
It's because it's been in every movie and TV show since then.
It's
anyone at all.
It's such a pleasant song. It's like the most pleasant pop song. Completely unoffensive, and I'm always psyched to hear it.
Yeah.
Midnight dreary.
All this reminds me of is I could have been friends with these guys.
You could have been in that music video where they were doing like Wizard of Oz. Like the whole thing is like a big Wizard of Oz parody.
Was it Blues Traveler song?
Yeah, and I just remember everybody was like, no, this song. And
I never heard. Oh shit.
And everyone was obsessed with the girl who played Dorothy because she was so super hot. Like, she's, like, beyond crazy hot.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, my biggest crush, the chick in the Blues Travelers video.
Oh, everybody's pretending they're singing because Blues Traveler was so big.
Right.
He was so large that they had to pretend.
Right. They
had guys that look like rock stars singing.
Like a foxy grunge band on...
All right, we got to wrap this up. Tell people how they can get tickets, Chris.
The Eddie Izzard Town Hall is happening next Wednesday, June 14th at 9 a.m. at the SiriusXM studios in New York City. Go to theinterrobang.com for a chance at free tickets. Everyone attending gets a free copy of Eddie's new book, Believe Me, a memoir of love, death, and jazz chickens.
All right, that's it for us. Skankfest is coming up. And I'm going to give, because you got to get tickets to that. But it looks like I may be doing a Skankfest Unmasked.
Oh.
Yeah. With one of my favorite people in the world. To try to guess who Ron's favorite person is. And know that I've already done one with Big J.
Right.
So there's the giveaway, because everybody would think, obviously, oh, he's got a Big J.
Already have been.
So who do you think it's going to be? Skankfest.
I have a guess.
Write it down.
All right. Tell me if I'm right.
No.
Okay.
Although that one supposedly will happen this year. I'll believe it when I see it. That was a nice guess, though. All right, that's it for us. See you guys again in 1974.
Ladies and gentlemen, the evening is over. We hope you all enjoyed yourselves, and we'll see you all again in 1974. Good evening!